Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q episode 56. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
You know, guys, after a year of doing this podcast, and approaching 6 months of this season, it's been good, but I think it's time that standing here at my funeral, I feel like it's time that I go home. Do not tell my coworkers, though.
No, we'll keep it to ourselves.
Yeah. I'll run around and play in the dirt. Something about a futon. I don't remember the other ones.
Don't mock his cute
Brad.
rules. Yes, we're also joined by Brad.
I'm Brad. I'm not allowed to cry. I'm a boy.
Oh, yeah.
Say the oaths,
one
Brad.
one last bit of gender ideology. Is the last note of Return of Ultraman. Oh man. Last note of Return of Ultraman is Rumiko using the gender ideology against Jiro for the first time in the show.
It was all set up. It was all set up this whole time and we didn't know.
Jiro's getting alien black-pilled.
Yes, he is. Oh, man. What a setup. Alright. Well, coming up, we have got the finale of Return of Ultraman, obviously. But we also have the first Ueno episode.
That's true. The only Ueno episode in the show.
The penultimate episode of Ultraman. Also, in addition to the finale and an Ueno episode, we also have a good episode of Ultraman.
There's someone editorializing in that statement.
We'll get. I still haven't decided whether I think the finale is really good or kind of mid. We'll get to it. We'll have to talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
I watched it. I watched it last night. I had a pretty good time, but we'll see. In the meantime, I don't care. I don't care if this is a finale. We're still doing our shit.
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about Command & Conquer because I fell into a hole this week. I moved rooms upstairs and this ruined my sleep schedule because it was exhausting moving from a basement to the top floor. And I woke up the next day at 4 p.m. And that kind of fucked me for a week. And so I have just been on the weirdest, almost an American sleep schedule, and just kind of emerging at mid-afternoon, booting up Command & Conquer and just pouring hours into it pouring hours into an RTS game like I'm 12 again.
Yeah, you're no-lifing it?
Ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely, just ridiculous. So what happened, I played the original Command & Conquer. I finished that, barring the extra missions that they did as an expansion. But the expansion's it's not like an expansion with a story or anything. It's just like a few bonus missions. So I don't really care that much, especially as I'm not that eager to play any more original Command & Conquer missions anytime soon. I also played the Soviet campaign of Red Alert, which is one half of the game. Started the Allied campaign, going to be continuing that, and then there's also a couple of expansions there. I'll get to that in a second. Now, I have a hot take. The original Command & Conquer fucking sucks.
Damn.
It should be a really good game. The FMVs are very cool. I'm a very big fan. Kane is legendary. He's the setup of Command & Conquer is they have based off the success of Dune II, which is a game where you mine spice. They have gone, well, we want our own shit that we can do what we want with. So they have invented this thing where in the modern world, Tiberium, a meteor struck Italy, like around near the Tiber River, and it had this weird growing crystal on it, and that's Tiberium, and it's infecting Earth, and it's very dangerous to carbon-based life forms, and also it can be used for cool stuff in science, and it's, you mine it and you get money, and there is a war on between GDI, the Global Defense Initiative, and the Brotherhood of Nod, who are led by Kane, who is the only professional actor working on the game. It's a wild comparison. Real Battle of Algiers stuff happening here. With the professional act angle. It's a whole thing in Battle of Algiers. But Kane's cool. He emerges into scenes, shoots people, and is always being nefarious and sick. And Command and Conquer, real-time strategy game. One of the first game that invents the context-sensitive mouse for RTS games, based on inspired by the Mac. What you can do with the Macintosh at the time, and this is a leap forward from where Dune II and the original Warcraft are, where you select one unit and then you go over to the bar and you hit either the move, attack, or the guard or retreat button, and then you select somewhere on the map, and you do this individually for individual units. Nightmare stuff. And original Command and Conquer, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It would be pretty fun if the missions weren't a fucking nightmare all the time.
Oh no.
I would say, I have said this, I would say about 70%, I was Googling walkthroughs of these missions. I would say about 70% of these missions have their own little corner of the internet where people are yeah, it's the worst mission in the game. So yeah, that was the kind of nightmare I was dealing with. I truly just having an unpleasant time a lot of the time. But the fundamental of the actual gameplay is fine. It's good. It's, it's the basics of the RTS genre are here. You build a base, you defend it, you make an army, you send it off towards the enemy base, you destroy the enemy base, kill their guys, there's classic stuff. Here's the thing. The FMV's good. The gameplay, fine. Red Alert is just one of the best games ever. It's night and day. It's so wild that they were just if, Command and Conquer feels like a rough draft to Red Alert. So I've played the Soviet campaign. The missions are much more interesting, much more fun. The puzzle mission, there are puzzle missions in Command and Conquer where you don't get to build a base, you just get a bunch of guys and you have to figure out how to beat the mission with what you have. The puzzle missions in Red Alert, much better, much better than in OG Command and Conquer. OG Command and Conquer demands you lose over and over and over and over again in order to figure out what to do. Or, if you don't have the time for that, Google it. Red Alert, much more, it feels like you can experiment in a much more intuitive way. It's good. I like it a lot. I also think they added sea units. You can build submarines if you're the Russians. You can build ships if you're the Allies.
That's a weird division.
Let me tell you about weird divisions.
One's above the surface of the water and one's below. This is how this works.
Yeah. So now,
I'm just saying, allies, the Western Allies never built submarines in their life.
No, never. Right. Well, submarines are nefarious.
Yeah.
You see, it's a display of low cunning.
Red Scare Orientalism, I got it.
Yes, the USSR is a comedy evil USSR. However, it's also really fun. Just, you boot up the game, it shows you this ridiculous intro where Einstein goes back in time and kills Hitler, returns to the present and is like, we'll see. And what happens is Russia invades Europe, and like the USSR invades Europe, and you don't even go to a menu. The game just launches you straight into the Soviet campaign.
Now,
and
Red.
Yes.
Did Winston Churchill write this game?
Some guys who maybe agree with him did.
I'm just saying. I think it's liberals telling on themselves when they say, "Oh, the Nazis are the only reason that communism didn't spread."
Yeah. It's yes. The ideology is wild in this game. However,
also very liberal to just be like, yeah, if you kill Hitler, then the Nazis don't rise.
Oh yes,
like,
yes, absolutely.
No
it was
German
one guy.
fascism, just like one guy.
It was just him. He did it. It was his fault. But yes, all is forgiven when you load in to the FMV cutscene of you sitting across from FMV Stalin, telling you to go out and kill the Allied pig dogs, etc. And I'm like, yes,
thank you, comrade.
Yes, comrade. Thank you. Yeah, it's truly fantastic. There's lots of the gameplay much improved. I like the faction divisions. Like the factions are a little more clearly divided, I think, than they are in the original Command and Conquer. Like there is, I would say, well, no, actually, that's not fair. I'm being unfair to original Command and Conquer because Nod basically doesn't have any air units at all, because they're a terrorist organization. I enjoy the factional divisions between the USSR and the Allies in this game. And there's just goofy fake science shit, like your towers. You can build like flame towers but you can also build the legendary Tesla coils if you're the USSR. And so long as you keep them powered and they demand a lot of power, they will fucking zap shit that gets close.
I guess presumably in this timeline, the Soviet Yugoslav split didn't happen, and that's why they're cooperating on the Tesla coils.
Presumably.
I'm filling in my own gaps here.
Yeah, I don't think they thought about it.
I'm thinking about this more than they are.
Yeah. What was? Oh yes, you also get you can build both sides have a special. You have to build a building, and it gives you a special ability. The USSR has the Iron Curtain. You build this thing, and you can use it like it's a fucking Team Fortress 2 medic invulnerability on a unit. It's fantastic. Slap that on a mammoth tank, roll that into the enemy base, and have it go at the enemy command center. Good shit. The Allies get the Chronosphere, which is a teleport. Red Alert is operating in goofier science land than the original Command and Conquer is. So EA released all these games again on Steam. They have previously been locked behind like EA Origin, which is a nightmare service that no one should ever be looking at. So I have used this opportunity to go back and just like play, because I played Red Alert a little bit when I was a kid, when I was like, I don't know, 5, 6. So I was not making any progress with Red Alert. But I was playing it. I was, having a fun time, not doing anything. I realized that I've played the original Warcraft, because I looked up when Warcraft was in comparison to Command and Conquer and be like, oh, it came before Command and Conquer. I would have figured after. And then that was how I found out, oh wait, so Warcraft doesn't have like a context sensitive mouse. it has the Dune 2 controls. So I've played an RTS with the Dune 2 controls before. And that was when I was like, there's a way to play Dune 2, right? So I now in theaters, yeah. So I'm hopping on the real Dune 2, which is Dune 2 the game, which is not the thing about Dune 2 is you can't I'm not going to do it because the Dune 2 origin story is like Aragorn kicking the helmet to me. It always comes up. If you don't know about it, look it up. I'm not going to explain it. So I found a way to play Dune 2, and I've played a couple of missions of the Atreides campaign. I can see it. It's fun. It's all here. This is just Command and Conquer, but not as good. It's how it is. It's very clunky with the thing. Now, I do have an opinion about everyone is always like, oh, there's the legacy mod. It gives you the opportunity it gives you a way to box units. You can drag a box around units and
I think there's like a Dune 2000 is like a kind of reimagine of game too.
Dune 2000 is like an updated version that is much more in line with Command and Conquer. Dune 2 original with the legacy mod lets you kind of Command and Conquer it. Because you can drag a box around units. That was Command and Conquer did that. You can use the context sensitive cursor. Command and Conquer did that. But I'm not playing with that because that's I'm not playing Dune 2. I might as well play Resident Evil without tank controls. Silly. So I'm playing it with the also. It just makes more sense because the game is clearly not balanced around you being able to react like that with all your units at once.
That changes the pace of things dramatically, I have to imagine.
Just fucking easy mode, clearly. I'll be, I'm going to be playing more of that.
Now, I never really engaged with Dune 2, but I'm assuming all of the, kind of weird roleplay adventure gamey stuff from Dune 1 is gone in Dune 2, right?
So they're completely different games. Okay, I will.
Okay. They're different games by a different team.
I will explain it.
Yeah.
I will explain it. It is Aragorn kicking the helmet, but that's because I'm I know about RTS. It's fine.
Yeah, all I know about is Dune 1. I've played a little bit of, and it's okay, this is a weird hybrid strategy adventure game thing, which is very funny to me. And then Dune 2 I know of as, shockingly enough, origin of a lot of RTS stuff.
It's the first real one.
Yeah, I mean, Herzog's Vi, we had a conversation about this last night. Herzog's Vi is credited as the first RTS a lot. And on some level, I get that. But on another level, on a level of history, I get it. I get calling it the first RTS. On the level of I feel like playing an RTS right now, that's not an RTS to me. Yeah. That's there's a lot of traits here that get carried forward. So I get it.
If you're I'm going to play an old shmup, you're not going to necessarily play Space Invaders. So,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Exactly. But so you're going to like this. The Dune 1 and Dune 2 were made simultaneously. Dune 1 was supposed to get cancelled. No one told the developers. And so they kept making the game, while Westwood was making what they thought was going to be Dune 1. Eventually the publishers get, Virgin Games, get the call from the OG developers being like, yeah, we finished our Dune game. And they're like, what? You're not supposed to be making that anymore. Well, I guess we have it, so we'll put it out. And that's Dune 1. And so Dune 2, it is just a completely different game.
I find it interesting that they both independently came with different forms of strategy game, though.
Yes. It's clear that it should be strategy to them, them both.
That's funny. I've actually never heard that before.
Yeah,
cool.
It's pretty good.
It's one of those things that only happens in the past. You can't get stuff like that these days.
So you're telling me he really broke his foot?
Yeah. This is one of those things that I feel every now and then a video popped. If you go, every video about Dune 2 has someone explaining the story, and I'm like, okay, at what point do you start giving your thoughts on this game?
Wait a fucking minute.
You mean like the
he
Doki Doki
actually
Planet?
threw the knife at him, and he actually parried it in midair.
Actually, the thing is, you guys make these jokes I don't actually get.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so there's
this episode is the curse of assumed knowledge. This is great.
So, in the Two Towers, there's a scene where I can't believe I'm explaining this. In the Two Towers, in the movie, there's a scene where Aragorn kicks a helmet, and he actually breaks his toe, and so the scream he gives is real pain. Yes. And this is such a common story that you can use this as like a comparison. It's this is Aragorn kicked the helmet.
It's like the Doki Doki Panic thing. From
Yes, exactly. It is the Doki Doki Panic of movies.
Now I'm gonna be honest.
So what are you saying
about
the knife parry?
So there's a scene where
in the Fellowship
Aragorn's fighting an orc, and
Uruk-hai.
The actor playing the orc actually threw like his throwing knife at him, which he wasn't supposed to do, from what I gather. It was supposed to be like CG'd in later. And Viggo Mortensen just fucking actually parried it in midair, and they were just like, well, fuck it, we're putting it in the movie.
Okay, I'm learning. Now we've done a prerequisite. By the way, did you guys know that Super Mario Bros. 2 was originally Doki Doki Panic? Okay.
Holy shit!
I see.
Continue, Red.
To be honest, that's me kind of done. Okay. The comparisons between Dune 2 and Command and Conquer are interesting in terms of like Tiberium is clearly just spice, but also you look at where Command and Conquer goes as a series after this, and I'm just like, they have also got their own thing. Clearly, I can't wait to play Tiberian Sun, which is the sequel. One thing I do know about Tiberian Sun is that the main character, the command, because in these games you play a commander. Like when you install, this is a legendary thing about Command and Conquer. Back in the day when you didn't download a game from Steam, and you had to install a game. The installation process of original Command and Conquer was meant to feel like you were logging into like a command system.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like noted for being, this is pretty cool. And all the characters are like looking at the screen and addressing you as commander and stuff. And the commander of the GDI campaign in the first game is a character in the second game, played by a real big name actor, which means that when I was ordering the ion cannon to hit the Temple of Nod in the final campaign, in the final mission of the GDI campaign, I was James Earl Jones. So that's pretty cool. Tiberian Sun seems like a much more like post-apocalyptic Earth type thing, because Tiberium is bad. Tiberium fucks up the Earth. So looking forward to that. But that's me. That's that was the hole I fell into this week. I am looking forward to getting out of it and actually watching, getting back to watching, because I want to watch Elgheim. I want to watch Heavy Metal Elgheim. That's it. Talked for half an hour.
Yeah, that's just us.
Yeah,
we had to get into Aragorn.
Yeah, we did. Honestly, it's important. I don't actually have all that much. I've been, honestly shockingly busy, and when I have free time, I just kind of want to chill out, so I've been going back to, chill out mode, playing Lethal Company with friends when I have the time to. Mm-hmm. I should be practicing fighting games more. Combo Breaker coming up in about a month and a half here. Kind of sneaking up on me. A little bit nervous about it. But, oh well. I've been mostly doing nothing of note. But the one thing I guess I can touch back on is I played a fuck ton of Honkai Star Rail in the past 2 weeks. Because a new character dropped that I was like, oh, okay, I kind of want that character for my team. That game, I actually think, is way more interesting than I even first gave it credit for. And I'm kind of fascinated by how it's designed in comparison to the other, like, pseudo-RPG gacha games that I've played.
I think, unfortunately, that's the Honkai promise. From what I know about Third Impact as well, is that the game part is actually pretty good, which I know.
Yeah, it's... So, what's, like, interesting to me about this game is that the battle system seems deceptively simple. It's just like, you have a basic attack, a unique skill, no consumable items can be used in battle. Like, everything that you want to use that's consumable, you need to use outside of battle. And to be fair, sometimes that does give you, like, a bonus effect for your next fight. But then you also have, like, a limit break skill, like an ultimate. So you're essentially just balancing these 3 different factors across 4 team members. And there's, I want to say it's like 7 elements maybe total in the game. And then there's like a stagger and weakness system.
Yeah, I think I remember there's like physical, fire, wind, ice, electric, wind, and then quantum, and the other one.
Imaginary.
Yeah, which to be clear, are just darkness and light.
It basically is that in terms of how they handle it. But then also characters there are 7 paths that each character has that each represent what their role is in battle, basically. So I've been building up a Nihility team, which is all about damage over time effects and debuffing the enemy and just making it so that they're just having a miserable time. There is a pseudo roguelike mode that refreshes every week that is kind of your end game way of getting the currency you use to pull for new characters. And it's shockingly fun because basically what happens is you go through this set of randomized tiny rooms, and you get to choose at the end of one of these rooms, you get to choose between like 2 different options. And there's only like 4 or 5 or so, but it's like, hey, do you want to go to a random event room where you have like something bizarre happen to your characters or your party, and it'll probably impact their performance the rest of the run? Or you can do a combat room where you have some random encounters just walking around in a tiny room, and every time you defeat an enemy, you get a thing called a blessing, which is basically just like a passive buff applied to your team. Mm-hmm. And they stack in interesting ways. If you get enough blessings of a certain category, you gain like a party-wide limit break skill. So like there's a Path of Destruction blessing ability you can get. It just causes a massive explosion when you fill it up, and it does a bunch of enemy to the teams. The Nihility one just is this like miasma of debuffs and damage over time effects that affects the whole enemy team, and you kind of need to build your party around those blessings and what you want that effect to be. And I've discovered this game has this very interesting sense of balance where every character that's like a limited time, like, oh, we're doing this gacha banner for this month, and the next month they're gone for a little bit, and then you're pulling for another 5-star character. All those 5-star characters are broken as fuck, and I think I kind of touched on this before, but I did not realize the extent of this. The way that these people, I think, are banking on making money is that they're giving people a surplus of really fucking good characters, and people who can't help themselves really just want to get all of the really good characters that they keep pushing back to back to back. Whereas with me, I'm just like, well, I mean, there's like 2 or 3 that I want, and I've gotten a couple of them now, and there's like 2 more that I want, but other than that, I'm just perfectly fine waiting. But because you can borrow other people's characters, that's how they get you, because it's like, oh, I borrowed this person on my friends list, really good
try it out, and then you'll be like, I want that.
I mean, I haven't really played the game a whole lot, but whenever I've logged in, I just like done the character trials, so I'm like, I want to see some shit.
Yeah, and specifically, because what they do is, so it's 4 people to a party. And when you borrow one of your friend's characters, you can only borrow the one, and you swap out someone from your current party for them to take the spot. So you basically already have a shell formed, and then you get to see how different characters play around with that shell. And you can think of the possibilities to come if you were to change your team around. A little bit insidious, I would say. But that's how they get you. But Acheron came out, who is this game's Raiden Mei / Raiden Shogun, who is like one of the original like core party members of Honkai Impact 3rd. Very popular character in her own right. In Genshin Impact, she was a 5-star unit called Raiden Shogun, who I also pulled for and was really fucking broken in that game. She's basically like Lightning Virgil in that game, which is why I wanted her. And then after I got her, I was like, I actually think Genshin Impact sucks, and I stopped playing it. And I have no intention of going back. But her counterpart in Honkai Star Rail is interesting to me because she seems the most unique in terms of mechanics so far. She works by basic rules, essentially, or by different rules, essentially, from everyone else in the game, where her limit break equivalent doesn't power up how everyone else's does, because normally how you get like your ultimate ability in this game is that you fill a gauge by either getting attacked and taking damage with that character, or you're using that character's attack and skill to fill it up. What she does is every time anyone in the party applies a debuff effect to the enemy team, she gets 1 out of 9 nodes filled, and on the 9th node, she does this massive, like, screen clear, like, Dimension / Virgil move. And there are ways to prime that so that it happens near constantly, it feels, which is pretty sick. But then, like, to balance it out, her damage is kind of kneecapped unless she has 2 other characters of her same type in the party. Which can make things a little tricky to work around. But like I have a party to work with this. One of the other characters I have on the team, also kind of interesting because their special ability is to fuck with the enemy's weaknesses and just assign them a new element weakness. Which is something I'm kind of shocked I've never seen done in Megaten, to what I can remember. But, like, I constantly feel like I'm playing, like, kind of like a press-turn battle system that is maybe a little bit more experimental in how weaknesses can change and flow mid-battle, or what those effects of those weaknesses are.
Right.
And overall, I'm having a really good time, and I'm kind of shocked how much the actual RPG part is still holding my interest, because the thing I've had with every fucking gacha game I've ever played is like 10 hours in, I feel the Skinner box, and I'm like, the actual moment-to-moment gameplay of this fucking sucks, and it just feels like a stripped-down Final Fantasy that I don't want to play. And this, I'm actually needing to think about team composition. And actually, the other last point I'll make on this is that this is a game that is not afraid to... This is a game that is not afraid to just stonewall you if your team isn't good enough. And what, in a gacha game, normally what you'd think is, oh, well, the solution is I need to pull for a new character that I can use to beat this challenge. And in a lot of cases, that's actually not really it. It's just like, no, you have the resources you need in front of you to beat this. You just need to figure out the party composition and the overall strategy you actually want to use, and figure out a good team build that actually capitalizes on this challenge's weaknesses. And to be fair, grinding up your team to get to that level is kind of where I feel like the pressure of like, oh, well, you only have so much grinding that you can do before you, like, quote unquote run out of energy. I haven't yet felt the strain of that, but I'm sure as I get closer to endgame, that's going to become more apparent. Because obviously they don't want, for these free-to-play games, they don't want you just being able to beeline the whole fucking thing at a point. But I've actually been having a lot more fun than I thought I would, and that's more than I can say for the 99% of games in this same genre I've played.
Yeah.
Nice. I still need to get out of that first town.
Yeah. It doesn't help. Second area in that game kind of sucks. It's really boring.
Damn.
It is Space China Port Town. And they, for some reason, they really went all in on Fisher Price ass, like Simon Says puzzles for all their dungeons, and it's just like, it feels constantly like they're jangling car keys in my face, or like telling me to push around those little vacuum cleaner toys that, like, you know, jangle the little balls inside. Like, why did you design your dungeons like this? First and third area is much better in that regard, and I hope they learned their lesson, because it sounds like the overall feedback to that second world was not great.
This shit sucks.
People seem to like the new area right now. So.
Oh, I love the new one. Honestly, leans into the sci-fi stuff. It's like a big space hotel where everyone gets assigned a room, and you have a weird pool that has like a sedative in it, and as soon as you start bathing in it, you fall asleep and you enter into like a dream world that's everyone's like sharing this dream, and it's kind of fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I know you can get like multiple versions of the protagonist, and my friend was showing me like the third version of the protagonist coming up with like Showtime art, and I was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah, hopefully the third one's better than the first two, because the first one is apparently fairly mid, and the second one is slightly more useful, but Endgame is not fitting into a lot of teams. Which historically I've also been told is just a Hoyoverse thing. The protagonist usually ends up sucking by the time you get to Endgame content, but, you know. Which is also a shame, because I like her design actually a lot for this one.
The power is, their superpower is their friends, that they let do all the work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do really like the protagonist design in Star Rail, though. The female, anyway.
Yeah, guy protagonist designs for Hoyoverse games usually pretty bad. Not gonna lie. Just boring.
I think I saw, like, someone... There was a new character who was, like... The bartender looking guy with like 5 o'clock shadow, and it's like finally an attractive Hoyoverse guy.
Oh, that dude rules. So he's on the banner right now for the he's a 4-star unit that's on the banner for like the current 5-star. Like he was just introduced, and he's like currently on rate up. While I was pulling for the character I actually wanted, I have 5 copies of him. Now, because, you know, gacha game rules, whenever you get a duplicate of a character that also like powers up their stats. So I just have this fucking bartender asshole who is like a fantastic healer, just constantly on my 4th slot of my main team. And he's interesting because his like skill heals one character, both like it's like a moderate heal that also gets rid of all status effects, which is actually pretty useful for fights. But in terms of like raw healing ability, he's kind of behind other healers in the game. But what gets interesting is that he can apply a debuff to the enemies that he hits that makes it so that if anyone on your team attacks that person, they get healed. So I benefit from this because that debuff counts towards that one other character's ultimate charging up. So I debuff everybody with that, then suddenly everyone becomes a healing sponge, and then I power up that character's ultimate, and she's basically healed back to full by the time it procs and goes off. The synergy stuff in this game is very fun to mess around with and noodle in the brain once you like get into it and really start to understand the system.
I gotta confess, while you're talking, I pulled up the game on my phone and rolled the Mahjong character, so I won. But anyway.
There you go.
While you were talking, just to wrap this up, I was... While you were talking, I googled the Star Rail protagonist to try to after you said, mentioned the designs, and I saw the Trailblazer, and they're called the Trailblazer, and I was like, the dialogue's to come.
Speaking of the Trailblazer...
Did you blaze the trail?
Yeah, I did watch the movie.
Yeah, how are you feeling about Trailblazer these days?
You know what? After being a lot more disappointed in 00 Season 2 than I expected and going through the 5 stages of grief, I found out, you know, that's a fairly enjoyable movie. That's pretty... Turn your brain off. Mm-hmm. Cool set pieces. But also I did watch it, like, sped up, just because I was like, I'm not going to watch a 2-hour movie.
Whatever the stuff is happening in space, my mind is just blank in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I have more substantial stuff than Trailblazer. So I can get to that.
What have you been doing?
Well, first of all, I won't spend too much time on this one, but early in the week, some people on the Ultraman server I'm in watch a 90s Subaraya show, Moon Spiral, which is a 3.5 episode thing that many people consider to be the worst thing Subaraya ever put out. And
is it pretty bad?
It fucking sucks. It's so garbage.
Nice.
It's incomprehensible.
Worse than Ultraman.
There's barely a plot. There's like an Esper girl, and her dad works for the government and has like his own private detective that he calls little boy, I think, something. I don't know. There's a weird cult guy who looks like he's dressed like Jeremy Spiders from King Oger. He tries to run for office in the 3rd episode. The 4th episode is completely different characters and incomprehensible. It doesn't make any sense. It's bad.
I see.
And then somehow that team went on and made Tiga, which is crazy.
That's one everyone likes.
Yeah, it brought it back after hiatus. Look forward to us talking about it in like 3 or 4 years.
That's the one we're not allowed to own on Blu-ray.
Are we not allowed to own that on Blu-ray?
Well, we have the...
there's DVDs.
We have the DVD for it. And we can't... The DVD, for whatever reason, doesn't have the actual OP. Because of Johnny's.
What?
I heard that they were... Are they not also the reason why it's still locked to DVD and they can't put out a Blu-ray for it?
I don't know, but it's probably
like
the reason why we aren't getting, like, the Tiga movie over here.
You know, well... Is that now... Officer... Is the Tiga
There is a way
movie
to
over
watch
here?
it, because I have watched it.
Yeah, I figured.
I was gonna say. I assume we're fine.
Of all seasons to have this problem, Tiga is not one of them. One of the later DVD straight to DVD bonus stuff in the aughts that Tiga got did not have subs until the Mill Creek DVD added it. So you know,
damn,
we'll give him something.
Damn.
Don't want this. That's a thing. But yeah, Moon Spiral bad. The real shit, part 1. I saw the other half of Red Cliff last week.
Yes, you fucking did.
Yeah. And it was sick. It was really good.
Fucking boys.
It is funny. They're the bros.
Writing the rival to Sun Tzu's Art of War, and it's just page upon page of your bros will have you. Your boys will be there. Unite the boys, and you will conquer the world. It's all about the boys.
I feel like this, based on further research, I think this movie is probably more accurate to Joyu than the novel.
Yes. It's really funny. There's this like one brief moment in the novel where Joyu and Kongming come up with the same idea, which is it, and then have a laugh about it, where it's like the one moment where you see the vision of like, oh, they could be bros, and that moment is just expanded out to this whole movie, and it's like, but like, and the novel version is so like, we're gonna insert Kongming in here because he's 50% real human being and 50% OC.
Yeah, like the thing is, the novel is just kind of Shuhan propaganda.
Yes.
For ideological reasons. Apparently, I found out rewatching the Pause and Select video that like the original version of the novel was even like more nice to Cao Cao. Like, not even talking about older histories, but like earlier versions of Romance of the Kingdom specifically, written in the Ming period, where like Cao Cao was more of a anti-hero, and then the Mao Zedong version in the Qing Dynasty, which is the basis of the Monster Opera one, is the one where they take out all the good parts of Cao Cao and make him a cartoon villain.
I mean, nice. on the one hand, he's a cartoon villain. On the other hand, I think if you read it, if you're reading closely, you can still see it. It's still there. Like, there's still, like, a fundamental level of respect for a guy who just kind of fucking did the thing that Liu Bei kept trying to do.
Yeah, it's just, like, you know, it'd be nice to, like, look into the older version if it exists or is translated anywhere. And also apparently like the main Japanese version by Yoshikawa is also makes Cao more likable.
That's
among
good.
other
That's
changes.
I mean, I'd
be curious to look into that one just to be like, well, what are the given the context when it was written, I wonder what the
Romance of the Three Kingdoms: The Origin.
Yeah, because that one's like the basis of Japanese understanding of Three Kingdoms, and it reflects in their media, and it's also influential in its own way because Japanese media is influential in Korea and China now these days, which is why you have like Chinese and Korean gacha games where people play it at Japanese voice actor. But that's an aside.
There is a reason. Koei Tecmo put fucking Reinhardt and Yang Wenli in their Romance of the Three Kingdom games. One time, recently, I think. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I saw images of that and I was like, well, that's yes, naturally. So yeah, Red Cliff Part 2, sick.
Yeah. Just want to say, first of all, it takes 5 hours for Colin Ming to put on the hat. Final scene in the movie. He's coming out with his horse, and second of all, it's extremely funny. Watching that last scene and knowing exactly what happens in the novel, where like Joyu and Kong are like inches from kissing. To be honest,
yes,
yes, the way they're just like, one day we might have to fight each other, but I will treasure the bonds and friends we made and this memory of the battle we won together. And meanwhile, I'm like, well, in 2 chapters from now, Sunshun is going to get really mad at Liu Bei for taking over Jing Province, and is going to spend the rest of the novel trying to get it.
Yeah. The whole like Red Cliff as an avenue to trick people into giving you territory that you can then use to build into land is like, is like a fun example of Kong Ming being the bastard that he is.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, Liu Bei, I got your solution. What if 3 kingdoms?
Yeah.
I did like how they gave Lady Sun more to do in this movie, because in the novel she hasn't been introduced yet.
Yes. You said, you asked me if like there was like where you should read up to in order to get in order to watch the movie, and I was like, I watched the movie straight after Red Cliffs, and I was like, they've added a woman in, and then I kept reading the book and got to Lady Sun, and I was like, oh, she's in the book. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, she's cool. I love Joyu just like jamming with the music, because that's the thing he did. It's like apparently very important to the fact him as a historical person never comes up in the book at all. Like, he's just like, a musical
he's a big
genius.
musician.
Yeah,
I see.
I mean, it gets kind of like, I guess, a bit in the novel, but it's more of the novel spent on like how he's absolutely going to get Kong Ming and his Wile E. Coyote schemes. Which he didn't do in real life.
Joyu as Wile E. Coyote is great. Oh, man.
There's something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Also, I do find it funny that there's like, if we count like part 1 and 1, 2 as one movie, I watched them as 2 movies, but if we count them as one movie, there's technically only the second John Woo movie I've seen, and it's so completely different from the other.
Face Off?
Yeah, from Face Off. So also in my head, I do just imagine Joyu chafing at Kong Ming and just going, I'm going to take his face off.
I liked Mission Impossible 2 quite a bit when I was a child.
I need to watch the Mission Impossible movies. And also probably some of those like other Hong Kong action movies. But it's funny, just like complete night and day difference between a Red Cliff and Face Off.
Yes. The extended I remember watching these movies and wondering whether I could show them to my parents and whether they would get anything. And it did occur to me how often guys show up and you're just supposed to know who they are from what they look like. And despite having only read the book, every time someone showed up and I was supposed to know who they are from what they look like, I was like, oh yeah, that's that guy.
Yeah, I mostly got that. Like, some of them are like guys like Lu Su. I had to guess a bit. Like, I had to have more context. And I did watch it with someone who hadn't read the book, and they were like somewhat lost, but I think the movie does a good enough job.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you don't know it, you still kind of get just it.
Everyone does such a fucking good job in that movie.
Like, the little 5 minutes into the first movie, it's like the refugee Liu Bei fleeing.
Yes.
As Cao Cao invades, and it's like, damn, you're just throwing into this. What context would you have for this if you hadn't read the book?
Yeah. But I'm just thinking about the whole. First of all, Zhou Yu's great. Kong Ming's great. Cao Cao's great. I love his Cao Cao.
Gotta be honest, Zhou Yu and Cao Cao's actors pretty attractive.
Yes.
I'll just say.
I mean, uncontroversial opinion. Tony Leung, very attractive man. Big fan. He's in what's the movie called? What's Wong Kar-wai's gay movie? Wong Kar-wai gay movie. Happy Together.
He's in the first Infernal Affairs movie. I bought that trilogy recently on the latest Criterion sale. I want to watch those.
Yeah, Tony Leung's been fucking around.
Yeah, I think I should watch more Hong Kong action movies. I feel like Infernal Affairs is probably a good one to do. Also John Woo, so you know.
Yeah. I've got like a hard boiled on my hard drive.
I also realized
on a DVD. I apologize, officer.
I like how both Face Off and Red Cliff have the John Woo staple of White Dove's line.
Naturally.
But yeah.
You gotta. Cool.
Yeah, so far I work my way with the novel, but Red Cliff is pretty damn good.
Yeah, you're entering like a weird stretch of the book.
Now I'm at the part of the book where there are three kingdoms.
Yeah.
I'm imagining a world where Face Off is just one part of a 2,000-page epic.
That'd be so funny.
I mean, it's, you know, in the Mabinogion, which is a Welsh cycle of myth, the first tale, the first of the four tales, has a king who offends the king of the underworld, and as they swap places in disguise, and the sign of their loyalty to each other's deal is that for the year that they do this deal, they don't have sex with each other's wives. So, you know, I would believe it. So yeah. What else you been up to, Mel?
Yeah, so I got one more thing.
Shoot.
And this is a return of a long time segment that's been away for a while.
Oh, is it Sentai Segue?
It's time for the Sentai Segue once again.
Yay!
You finished a Sentai. Which Sentai did you finish?
So I finished the 1997 series Denji Sentai Megaranger. That's not the one. That's the Honkai Star Rail Ultraman April Fool's joke they did. And you know what? It's pretty good, so I'll link in the description.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, yes, I did see this.
Good visual effects. Good parody. They gave the mascot the color timer. It's funny.
All right. I am looking at images of Denji Sentai Megaranger. Is this the one where you talked about the first episode?
Did I don't remember. It was a while ago.
Is this the one where it's about a bunch of all the villains are like criminals that escaped a space
No, that's
prison.
Time Ranger.
Oh, okay.
Which I've talked about.
Oh, yeah.
This one is 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, the characters are high schoolers. That's the gimmick this time. And
that's the first time they've done that.
They did it all the time. I think Turbo Ranger is also high schoolers, but
finally a show about high schoolers.
Yeah, they don't do it as often for Sentai, which is fine. But yeah, the premise is like the gimmick of this season is electronics. And
I did notice that laptop.
Yeah,
that's the 90s. Nice.
Yeah. And then the premise is there's this arcade game called Megaranger, and these high school kids are good at it. But the game is actually secretly a training thing. And
they got less starfighted.
Yeah, they got recruited kind of by an organization called INET, which is trying to deal with these pan-dimensional beings called the Nejire, which are invading Earth for some reason. Mm-hmm. And the guy who's sort of like in charge of them is this guy called Dr. Kubota. Let me find a picture of him because my friend, because I watched this one with a friend, lovingly, affectionately called Dr. Kubota Japanese George Costanza.
Nice. That's him.
Yeah.
And then so
that
there, you got the 5 kids. You have Kenta, who's like what you'd expect your hot-blooded high school protagonist with bad grades is.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Shun, who's kind of like the aloof hacker guy. My friend and I's favorite character in the show, Koichi Ro, who's like the Black Ranger. And he's like the really good grades, has class president type. He's the leader of the group. The guy who, when the friends hang out on a Saturday, he's the one who still wears his school uniform to go out.
That's yeah.
Which means when their homeroom teacher is like more of a casual, laid back guy, he actually butts heads. It was like, no, you're supposed to be more responsible as a teacher. And it's good.
Oh my god, he's at the end of the class. He's like, oh, you forgot to say homework.
Yeah. Then you have like Chisato, who's sort of like the smart girl, and then finally Pink Ranger, Miku, who's the girly girl who is not the smart girl. Yeah, they have good adventures. These are like really good solid episodes. Lots of fun stuff. Rounding out the team halfway through, the 6th Ranger is Mega Silver, who's Yusaku Hayakawa, who is distinguished from the other group by not being a high schooler. He is 28 years old. And he's one of the head scientists at INET, and he saw these high school kids being superheroes like,
I could do that.
That's fun, I want to do that. And then so he borrowed the prototype Mega suit, the Mega Silver suit, which has the fatal flaw of only working for 3 minutes.
Oh no.
And so he goes and just starts joining and fighting, and then Kubota, his boss, is like, bro, what are you doing? Go back to do your job. Stop doing this. It's good.
Oh my god.
And
great.
just, the characters are really delightful. It's a lot of very solid episodes, both serious and goofy. I'm gonna send you the Diet Crepe song.
The what?
'Cause it's funny.
I see.
Please tell me I copied correctly. Yeah, okay, we did.
Yes. Is this like...
I think the only thing that like I'd say is like a weak point is I don't think like the main villain group is that fun. Like there's they're kind of neat. They're kind of like they're perfunctory. The main villain is a guy called Dr. Himmler, who is secretly who like has a connection to Kubota in the past, and he's fun by the end. Though he does kind of just fall into the one anime plot. I think actually I have a screenshot on Twitter of Dr. Hitler, so I'll just send it to you.
This is a good song.
Yeah,
this guy's killing it.
The Diet Crave song is so good. Anyway, that's Dr. Hitler.
This is my second. Oh wow. All of humanity will one day become data cards. Thank you.
Yeah, he's got the one anime plot motivation at the end.
Yeah.
Here's another one.
Themed around electronics.
Yeah.
As promised.
Here's one of the villains with a cool design. He's kind of okay. He's just kind of like an Honor Warrior type called Ugand. But he's cool. Here's him and he's got wireframe design.
This is sick.
Yeah, he looks really cool.
If you had told me this was like from like Kikaider or something, I'd have believed that.
Yeah. There's a girl one, and there's a mascot called BB who makes the monsters grow by biting their butts. But
as you do.
The last stretch of the show really fucking goes. It does the thing that Fresh Freaker did that you thought was cool, and then there's consequences for it, and it's good. And it's like the end of like the show is like, will we be able to beat the villains before our graduation ceremony? And even if we win, we'll be able to attend, kind of thing. And it's just like,
that's the real shit.
Yeah, it's really good. I honestly, this might be one of my. This might be it may be recency bias, but this might be like my number 2 Sentai season at the moment. It's just really fantastic, I think.
The real shit. Madoka Magica is about how the villains show up and Nagisa is like, it's the finals of the lacrosse champion. I have to play. You can't fight me today. Being a magical girl fucking sucks.
Yeah.
That's what Madoka Magica is about. Just makes the subtext text.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's Megaranger. However, I have an addendum to this that I actually finished like a month ago with my friend.
Okay.
But I was holding on to it until now. Because you see, my friend in question, I watched then Kaiju with him, but he was not traditionally a Sentai fan. Like, we got into Toku around the same time. We watched Kamen Rider together. But growing up, he was a Power Rangers fan. So we did an experiment.
Did you watch the Power Rangers of this show?
Yeah, so the Power Rangers version of this show is Power Rangers in Space, the 5th season, and final one in a long story arc, doing Power Rangers crimes because I don't give a fuck. And it is truly a bizarre experience. One, I did break my friend's brain, and now he's just like, well, my nostalgia for Power Rangers is broken now. Because
that's hilarious.
One of these shows is fantastic, and one of them is not.
Yeah. If I was ever to do this, I'd do this with Dino Thunder, because that's the Power Rangers I watch the most of.
See, I'm watching that season of Sentai with another friend, and that's her favorite season of Sentai. But also, she's like, "Yeah, Dino Thunder rules." To be honest, we should watch Thunder 2. I'm like, well, maybe.
You know the black design in
yes.
whatever Sentai
Power
that is.
Ranger, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that guy in Dino Thunder is the historic.
Yeah.
Is like a guy from like the original Power Rangers. He's like the legendary Power Ranger.
Yeah. It's like Tommy, right? So.
Yeah, that's the guy. I forgot his name.
Check that suit. It's like the coolest suit in the fucking world. Like, it's so good.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, that's for another day, obviously. But it's back to Power Ranger Space. It's such a bizarre thing because like the team are guys from like the Turbo season, minus the kid, because no one likes the kid. And they just all got new color. They just switched to the new suits because that's the thing they did where they just at some point they were like, well, maybe we should start just doing the Sentai thing and rebooting every season. But this is the last of these. And they tried to, for whatever reason, take the electronic Sentai season and make it into a quote-unquote space opera. They tried, I guess. And, like, it's surreal seeing them try to do something different. But also the degree to which they just do things one-to-one. like, sometimes they'll zap an episode and be like, really, you're doing this episode? Like, the exact same episode plot? Like, there's an episode of Megaranger where Chisato is... her grandma comes to town, and she's trying to do an arranged marriage thing with her. And they basically try and do that episode in Power Rangers, despite, you know... That's not a thing in American culture. What are you talking about? And the funny thing is, like, her outfit is the same. There's a scene in the Megaranger episode where the grandma gets into a police car and steals it from a cop when the kaiju attacks and tries to drive it badly. And they put that in the Megaranger episode and the In Space episode, which means there's a shot of like a Japanese police car driving around wildly, and then you get to the American footage, and like they had to put black tape on the car door so it looks like the Japanese police car.
That's pretty good.
And like, and I don't know, it's so unhinged what they were doing. And also they're plot stuff that you would expect, that you wouldn't expect to just be carried over 1-to-1. Like, there's near the end of the show, they introduce these cool guys called the Neji Rangers, who are like a villain Sentai team who exists solely to beat up the Mega Rangers. And they're famous, I think, in the Power Rangers fandom because they're like these are the Psycho Rangers in space. But like there's stuff like how there's ostensibly a big bad behind Dr. Handler, who he orders to, but he creates the Neji Rangers as like both a thing to destroy the Mega Rangers, but also like they drain the other guy's health as part of like an attempt to coup him. And that plot is carried over into In Space as well. With their own weird sort of the villains, and it's weird. I will say, I think like some of the In Space incarnations of the villains are maybe a bit more fun. Like I think, Yugun's version in Space is a guy called Ecliptor, and he's got like some cool stuff going on because like the protagonist of In Space is a guy called Andros. He comes in and becomes the new Red Ranger, which causes the Turbo Red Ranger to be demoted to Blue, which is a joke I keep making every time I talk to my friend about it, because I think, like, damn, he got demoted, loser. But, like, his thing is, like, his sister got kidnapped at some point, and now she's, like, working for the bad guys, brainwashed as someone named Astronema. And, like, Ecliptor was, like, Astronema's basically her foster dad, and so there's a fun relationship there in how he treats her, but also, like, the part where she's like, hey, maybe I'm a good guy. And he's like, no, you can't. You were raised to be evil, as if, like, evil is an ideological position that is held by the villains of the universe, which is kind of charming in, like, a American Saturday morning cartoon way, which is kind of goofy. But on the whole, Power Rangers in Space is very shoddy, which I think makes sense, because it's, like... They're taking, Power like... Rangers. It's Power Rangers. It's like splicing an original Japanese show with like American footage to try and adapt to American audiences. Also, just like the Japanese thing is like so different from like the thing you're trying to do. Because like some, I heard like Time Force, the American adaptation of Time Ranger, is pretty good because it's a 1-to-1 adaptation. But this one they try and like fit Mega Ranger into like it's like a space opera weird thing. It's like, hey, these people have, hey Space Rangers, why do you have like an email logo as your thing? Why do you have a laptop on your forehead? You know, it's like it's kind of ridiculous. And also it definitely feels like Power Rangers is definitely, much like Robotech, a legacy of like the 80s and 90s when they were like allergic to adapt Japanese things, especially for kids. So, they did the racist thing of making American. And yeah, it was an experience.
I think the only like version of this I'd ever be interested in doing for myself is Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, and I believe it's Ryuki.
Yeah, that's Ryuki, and like it's from a guy who like really likes Kamen Rider, and I don't. Yeah. And I think it's different enough from Ryuki as well. And like I think the guy,
I know Kamen Rider people are pretty all like overall pretty positive on Dragon Knight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, it's the only thing is like you can't really watch it illegally, which the creator is like annoyed about because he's just like, man, I can't even watch my own show illegally. What the fuck? But yeah, I know the guy in question who created it is like an avid Kamen Rider fan, so it's not like he's like disrespecting that material in the same way that like Saban was with like Power Rangers. Though I guess
I just think it's so interesting because it was like
giving Saban the most rope. He at least did think Bioman was cool, which is why he made Power Rangers. But sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying, Brad?
Like Dragon Knight was like late 2000s.
Yeah,
right?
it was like
It
was several years removed from Ryuki, but it was still in the same decade.
I just like think it's so interesting because it's like making that style of show with like the reused footage like all that far later from when that was like the norm. I'm just like, ooh, that's interesting.
Well, the thing is, Power Rangers was alive until like last year, so
was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
the last season they did was
they just kept making it.
Yeah.
Oh. I actually did not know that. Oh,
yeah, like they adapted a bunch of seasons. Hasbro got the license and they tried to adapt a Sentai season they didn't do years later. And then they adapted a new season, more recent season, and then they kind of just stopped. It's kind of like up in the air right now. But yeah, like the last season was like Cosmic Fury, which was an attempt to do like there was Dino Fury, which was an adaptation of Ryu Soldier from 2019. And they tried to do a second season, Cosmic Fury, because like they have this weird setup with Nickelodeon where they can only do like 2 25-episode seasons. And Cosmic Fury was like, we're not going to actually adapt the Space Season Q Ranger, but we will shoehorn in the Q Ranger stuff into Ryu Soldier. I don't know. At some point, Power Rangers should probably stop existing and they should just like bring over Sentai, but I feel like there's a point where it's like I don't think they could possibly Power Rangers Dawn Brothers.
I was gonna ask, like, what does the Power Rangers adaptation of Dawn Brothers look like?
I kind of want to know. I'm just like, I don't think they'll do it. I just want to know who's gonna be the fucking Pink Ranger here, the wife guy.
I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of like. I guess it's slightly different because I do know people that like grew up with it. I didn't really, but like, I'm kind of at the same point where when I hear people talk about Power Rangers, I have the same thing when I hear people talk about Robotech, and I'm like, grow up.
Yeah, I feel like that's my opinion too, but I also feel like
watch the real shit.
It's complicated because I feel like there's probably like the seasons that exist, there's probably some of them that are still good and worth watching, but it's also like the motivation for them existing is rancid in a way, and also like it did. I think Power Rangers, I think, was a net negative in like you got like independent, like in Europe and Latin America, you got independently people were like dubbing 80s Sentai in those regions. Like you have Live Man in Peru, you have Bioman in France getting dubs, but then after Saban got the international license for Power Rangers for Sentai, and that basically nipped any like continuation of future Sentai dubs, and I guess really Toku properties in general from happening post 90s, because now instead of France dubbing Kakuranger, they're dubbing the Power Ranger season. So
yeah,
it's kind of unfortunate, and we're kind of just like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword where like we probably only got Sentai subs as early as we did officially because of Power Rangers, but also if it wasn't for Power Rangers, maybe we would have got more of them too. I don't know, or I don't know. It's complicated, but hopefully things will get better at some point about this.
Yeah,
but yeah.
All right. Right. Sentai is Toku, so no one can be mad about the fact that this podcast is now 1 hour and 15 minutes in.
Mm-hmm. 50? 15. 50. Okay, I was about to shit myself.
Please. In that case, we can move on to Ultraman. Before we get into any episodes, we have a couple of things. First of all, Brad, how do you feel about last 3 episodes?
They were pretty good. I think I don't want to say I was whatever on the Red Killer one. I thought it was all right. Other 2, I was like, yeah, this is a good time. I didn't really honestly have any, like, big standout thoughts, honestly. I do think that Yamaterans is a funny little friend.
Yeah,
and, you know, I can appreciate his lifestyle choices.
Will this be reflected in your list?
We'll have to see.
We will have to see.
Also, I think
unfortunately it was not reflected in my list at all.
Awfully bold to have an episode called The Marked Woman, when I would argue that there's an episode here also deserving of the title The Marked Woman.
Oh, yeah. She just has it rough.
Yeah.
There is one other thing. Tsuburaya announced something.
Yeah. Well,
Mal.
Ultraman Arc. We know what it is now. Kind of. Yeah.
What is it?
Like we got the trailer. We got a bit of a premise. Have you guys seen the trailer yet, or no? Did you?
I did, but it kind of came. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of went in and out of my brain.
Yeah,
he's like,
time I watched
it's fine.
it.
It's like a teaser trailer. You're not gonna get much of it.
Yeah.
I just want to feel
he like drew Ultraman or something when he was a kid.
Yeah, like I can just go quickly over the blurb on the YouTube trailer if you want.
Sure.
Yeah. Check out the latest info here. SuperRiotProductions.com/whatever. The new show, Ultraman Arc, aims to be an inspiration to children about the power to dream and a bridge towards a bright, hopeful future. The tokusatsu drama presents the values of the Ultraman series of the world, blah, blah, blah. Being of light hailing from our gallery unites with Yuma, the protagonist who owns tremendous power of imagination. They form a gigantic new hero, Ultraman Arc. The story is about Arc protecting the future of the Earth and mankind from looming threats. Yuma transforms the Arc by inserting the Arc Cube, which contains the power of the being of light, into the mystic Arc Ariser, unleashing his power. Arc will be the 30th main show of the franchise, which is funny considering how big the spreadsheet is. Also, is that only counting TV dramas with 30-minute episodes facing Japan domestically, whose main character makes the first appearance in this movie. That's a bunch of funny.
Wait, I didn't catch any of that. Can you try that again?
They said it's the 30th show of the series, counting the series' previous 27 shows in Japan, asterisks, and the 2 overseas shows aired in Japan later. The asterisk says only counting the TV dramas with 30-minute episodes facing Japan domestically, whose main character makes the first appearance in that specific show.
I see.
Many forum arguments resulted in this categorization.
Synopsis: in a town called Hoshimoto City, a giant object towers in Mount Shishio, named Monohorn, is actually a Kaiju horn stuck on the ground since an incident 16 years ago. The incident when Kaiju appeared simultaneously around the world was later named K-Day. Since then, the Global Defense Force, GDF, has been dealing with Kaiju with force, while SKIP, Scientific Kaiju Investigation and Prevention Center, works closely with the community in scientific investigations, evacuation guidance, prevent the occurrence and aggravation of Kaiju disasters. SKIP is investigating the Monohorn and the horn of the galactic beast Monegalos, which appeared on K-Day. Yuma, then only 7 years old, was camping with his parents when Monegalos attacked, but somehow miraculously survived unhurt. The experience led him to pursue the path of Kaiju biology research, and despite his traumatic past, he has not lost his imagination to dream. As a rookie investigator, Yuma joined SKIP and was assigned to the Hoshimoto City branch. Not long after, another large-scale Kaiju disaster occurs. As Yuma sees the desperate people in front of him, a strong will springs to his mind. I want to protect them. It was at that moment when Yuma hears the voice of
this feels like they're just describing the first episode of the show.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm just gonna watch
this when it comes out. I'm just gonna watch it when it comes out.
To be honest, I did not read this before speaking. So I was like, okay.
They're doing too much here. They're telling us way too much.
We got the gist. But yeah, basically,
it just sounds like Ultraman.
It's an Ultraman.
Yeah.
It's an Ultraman plot.
Ultraman, but this time the dude's a biologist.
Yeah, the main thing is the dude's a biologist. And like it seems like the deal with Arc is that power of imagination, and he appears from like a childhood sketch, and I think that's a fun way of doing it. I think the only other thing that I've noticed is that the Ultraman fans who are reading the tea leaves and looking at everything under a microscope are being like, it's funny that the Ultraman Arc font is identical to the Return of Ultraman font, and also the background of the title card is kind of sparkly in a similar way, and then also Arc has a similar fighting style stance to this particular incarnation of Ultraman in the show we're about to finish. So people are like, is this going to be a tribute season or homage or something? And so it's like,
it's
well,
not.
I guess we'll see.
Here's the thing: it's not a real tribute unless there's a weirdly misogynist kid and a lot of weird stuff about disability.
Yeah.
These are essential ingredients.
So,
Ultraman Arc, you better be paying attention.
So, my hope is it's not like, oh yeah, Ultraman 2 shows up in Arc. But like, if it's just like a homage and like, oh yeah, we're tipping our hat to the season.
Jeremy.
Never heard of him. But yeah,
he spoke in class today.
But yeah, we'll see. So far, I'm like, well, there isn't a reason we're not going to watch this. Most egregious thing is if at some point they're just like, yeah, anyway, Ultraman Zero is here. I'm like, well, shut the fuck up. But otherwise, we'll probably just watch this.
Now, here's the thing: we should watch it because it will be funny if we have to abort.
Yes.
Like if we have to pull the plug on a season of skipping the queue mid-season just to be like, no, it spoiled it. it's doing meta stuff. That will be a fantastic event in our podcast. Please don't do that, Ultraman Arc.
Yeah, I am trusting that they aren't going to pull a fast one.
All right. Well, in that case, how much of this podcast? We're nearing an hour and 30. So let's hit these summaries. For the final 3 episodes of Return of Ultraman. The first of which is episode 49. Space Warriors. Your name is Matt, is what I have.
Matt is the name of Space Warriors.
Yeah, I think this is better.
Mine is better. Mine's got that M dash. Yeah, it's pretty good. Featuring Milky Way planetarian alien Mistler. Doing too much with this name.
Yeah.
All right. Out on patrol, the boys are pretty relaxed, and someone jokes about Kishida being single. Which, like, come on, dude.
Too soon.
It's been a couple of weeks since his girlfriend exploded. Like,
this happened to both Go and Kishida. Like,
these guys fucking suck. This is so mean. While investigating,
Ibuki's like, don't worry, my wife's okay.
Yeah, my wife's fine. I'm fine. I'm literally okay. His wife's not fine.
Ibuki's like, I wish my wife was made of dynamite. You know what I'm saying?
Ibuki doesn't think about his wife ever, which has been demonstrated. While investigating a crater that seems a little too neat and tidy, Kishida and Minami get frozen by a beam and kidnapped. Back at base, Ibuki calls the rest of the team. No luck. But what about Go? Go is on a trip with Jiro and Rumiko. Jiro offers to take a photo for a happy family and gets so sad thinking about Ken and Aki. I can't get over this. This is literally the best Jiro bit in the whole show. That isn't some insane statement about women. Anyway, Go picks up on this and asks, but Jiro says, "Oh no, I'm happy with the family I have now. I'm happy with
specifically saying, Go, you're my brother.
Go, you're my older brother, and Rumiko is my older sister." And Go and Rumiko are glancing at each other and going, "That's not the relationship here, kid."
We had an episode about this, Jiro.
Yeah.
No, don't worry, they progressed off screen.
Yeah, off screen. Anyway, back to the plot. A runaway car with a child in the passenger seat. Go chases after it. I didn't put anything in that sentence other than a runaway car with a child in the passenger seat! ! Okay, Go chases after it, but is beaten to the rescue by a mysterious man. Go's growth is made apparent when he has a perfectly calm and reasonable psychic conversation with this man.
I also noted this. It's the first time.
He IDs this man as an alien Mistler, who is from a violent, warlike planet. This alien says, "No, I hate violence. I love the Earth, love humans, love my daughter, simple as." He has chosen to live on Earth in disguise, and his daughter does the same. She goes to uni. Go chooses to trust him. However, another alien Mistela is on Earth looking to convert Matt and Ultraman into warriors for Mistela, and this villain knows who the peaceful Mistela is. He is the old ace of the Mistela Space Warriors, and it's at this point that I'm like, okay, you gotta start giving people names.
Yeah, I kind of just went with like Captain and Ace as the names. Just 'cause...
Yeah, Captain and Ace works. Okay. That's not what I'm doing for the summary. Let me tell you what I've been doing for the summary.
Okay.
Mistela, the bad guy, arranges for the mind-controlled Matt to kidnap the daughter of Mistela, the good guy. Go is on hand by coincidence and knocks out Ueno, apologizes, and then chases down Oka and frees the Mistela daughter. The bad guy Mistela appears before Dad Mistela and says, "Ha ha ha, we have your daughter. You are a traitor to Mistela, but if you fight Ultraman, we will allow you to live on Earth with your daughter in peace." Dad Mistela doesn't like it, but he feels he has no choice. He kidnaps Jiro and Rumiko. Go returns to Matt Base to figure out what's happening and finds it empty. He then gets a message from the Dad Mistela, "Come to the lake and fight me or your family dies." They meet and have a tense conversation, laying out.
I do want to pause to say that I'm going to use this reaction image on Twitter whenever people are mean to me from now on. It's very good. It's of Mistela pointing at the screen and going,
"First off, I have no quarrel with you." This is fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh man,
nice guy. All things considered.
Guy. He's like, listen, you're a nice guy, but however, I do have a family.
This
guy who cares more about his family than Ibuki does.
Yeah, this guy is the anti-Ibuki. Okay. Where am I? Yes. They meet and have a tense conversation, laying out exactly why they have to fight, and then Mistela's daughter appears and is like, "Whoa, hang on, I'm not even kidnapped." And Mistela's like, "Oh. Well, okay. Thanks for saving her, Ultraman." And he returns kidnapped Jiro and Rumiko, who are unconscious. Bad guy Mistela appears and goes, "Fucking blue balls. What the fuck?" He calls good guy Mistela a traitor again, and then they fight in giant kaiju form. This fight is pretty good, but would be better if I could tell who was who a little better. But I do like when one of them falls on their like proboscis and it cracks and clicks. Gross. Love that. That's some nasty shit. It's good. I can't remember if this is the first fight or the follow-up fight with Ultraman, but bad guy Mistela calls in Matt in their Matt arrows to back him up. He wins the fight against good guy Mistela, and then Ultraman steps in and just kind of handles it. Bad guy Mistela tries to fly away in a spaceship, and the reawakened Matt are like, "Where am I? Is that a spaceship?" And then immediately blow it up. No explanation needed.
Truly, Matt is the name of Space Warrior.
Yes. It was like, is that a UFO? Hits the shoot button. Mistela and his daughter thank Ultraman and promise to continue living in peace on Earth. The end. I think that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a good time with this one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
I think, weirdly enough, this might be my version of the, like, Ultra 7 apartment episode right towards the tail end again.
Oh, where it's like,
this is
one. Completely normal episode, but
this is my
really good.
Too. Like, I'm with Brad on this one. I really like this one.
Yeah.
I just like the alien that defects and is like, no, I mean, we kind of already had this with the Kishida Dynamite GF episode, but like, I like that this dude just really honest to God wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost gets poked into being the antagonist, and as soon as he has a reason to not be that, he's like, no, we're not going to fight. That's stupid. Let's take out the real asshole that wants to cause problems.
That was good. I do extremely like that after the first conversation, he's like, Ultraman, we'll probably never see each other again. However, my address is the bottom of the lake, though. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Visit me if you want. I do. I think we could have got a little fight between. We could have had, because later in this show, Ultraman is going to beat Zeton. Spoilers.
Spoilers for the episode you probably already watched.
Yeah. Hopefully. You better be.
Person who watches these episodes pauses when we finish one episode, then watches the next one, then comes back to the podcast.
Yeah, fuck you.
I have done that once for GGP where I was like, well, I watched the Double O this week, but not the Rose of Versailles, so I'll just watch that, listen to half this episode. Come back to it the next tomorrow.
That's been me this whole season. I just have not listened to the Rose of Versailles stuff. I'm banking it.
You don't know the joys of Alain.
I do not.
It's the secret that I had to sit on with Rose of Versailles for ages was that the best guy in Rose of Versailles doesn't show up until like the last 12 episodes or something.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
And he's just a guy. He's just a completely normal guy. He's not involved in any of the highfalutin court shit at all. He's just a dude.
What were you gonna say about Zeton?
I was gonna say, Ultraman beats Zeton later in the show. I think if you wanted to have his ass get kicked, I think we could watch the ace of Planet Mistela kick his ass maybe a little bit, and then his daughter shows up.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, we're gonna get a little bit of a fight between them, and then his daughter's gonna show up. We didn't get any fight, which is it's fine. But I was kind of like, oh, I wanted a little bit. I wanted to see like a little bit of rivalry. I could see that. I wanted
Zangief. Instead, they're shaking hands like Hayata and Dan do. That one was
like, yeah, shaking hands, smiling in a corner of the screen.
Principle of thirds or whatever.
Yes, I had a great time with this episode.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. Go is so charming in this one.
Yeah,
he's such a cool guy in this one. He's mastered being the hero. He's at his A game in terms of being Ultraman.
Yeah, he's grown into the role.
He's grown into the role. He's becoming one with Ultraman.
More on that later.
More on that later.
The Jiro Rumiko stuff. I feel like they handled the transition as I was really worried that whole non-Matt team member sidecast plot stuff would fall off hard.
Yeah.
As soon as the deaths happen. I don't know. I think they did probably as good of a job as they could. Yeah, obviously, probably still not ideal.
Obviously, it'd be better if Ken and Aki were still here, but I think just given the circumstances, they think they did a good job. It's kind of weird that they almost feel like they're forced into the show more than they were before Aki and Ken died.
Because they have to speed run Rumiko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last episode, imagining the version of the finale where Aki is there, I'm like, we have lost something, but
we'll get to that.
They have done their best. They have done their best.
I was feeling that hard too.
We'll get into it. But yeah,
Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, we'll get to that stuff when we get to the finale, but for now, just it's a good episode. I like.
Yeah, it was actually directed by a new guy.
Oh, okay.
Tell us.
This was directed by Shuei Matsubayashi, who sometimes when doing these histories, I uncover context for other things that we've kind of wondered about on the show before, and this actually clarified things, and I kind of went in a little bit of a deep dive, not as long as some of my other ones, but this will be an interesting one. So, Shuei Matsubayashi was a Japanese film director, naval officer, and Buddhist monk. After graduating from Nihon University's College of Art, he joined Toho's production assistant department with the goal of injecting the spirit of Buddhism into his movies.
I see.
However, shortly after joining Toho, he was drafted and fought in World War II, becoming the commander of a ground squadron on, I believe it's a southern island off the coast of China. And then after coming back home, he was reinstated to his former position at Toho, just in time for the post-war Toho labor strikes. Now, are either of you two familiar with this?
I brought him up
a little bit in my bios. I don't know too much about him.
So, I feel like, this is the thing that, like, I kind of knew happened, but didn't really exactly know the specifics, so I finally was like, well, okay, what happened here? And it does actually kind of relate to both this guy and some other stuff we've talked about.
This is, for context, like, when I brought it up, it was in the context of, like, AG Subarai's mentor left Toho because he didn't like that the unions got power. not mentor, but, like, a understudy.
So... the Toho labor strikes, also known as the Toho labor disputes or the Toho labor upheaval, refer to a series of 3 strikes, primarily. There's a 4th one that nobody talks about because it apparently happened mostly behind the scenes. And they were commenced by Toho labor unions from the years 1946 to 1948. Emphasis on unions, plural. Mm-hmm. Before getting into the strikes themselves, there are several background factors that should be considered. The first is that Toho had a habit of hiring many college students at the time, and because they hired so many young people directly from universities, they ended up with a large network of student activists and socialists at their studio.
I was gonna say, I know about the student movement.
Yeah. Popular Communist Party film directors such as Tadashi Ime and Satsuo Yamamoto had been with Toho since even before World War II, and their popularity encouraged more communists to apply to Toho because, they wanted to be following in their footsteps. The second background element at play is the role of a man named David, I want to say it's Kond, it might be Konde, but I believe it's David Kond. After the war, the Allied occupation formed a civil information and education section, which played a major part in post-war Japan's education and media reform/censorship. While the goal of the section was to ostensibly promote the cultural norms of liberal democratic society in Japan, it should be noted that the original head of the section's film division, David Kond, was much further to the left than MacArthur's administration seemed to realize when they put him in that position. While he was denied a visa in 1947 and forced to return back to the USA, during his short time in charge of the film division, he managed to encourage employees at various film studios in Japan to form labor unions to fight for better worker rights, including at Toho. He also may or may not have had ties to American communist groups, but I have a book coming in the mail that apparently goes into further detail on that, so I'll save that story for another time. The first 2 strikes happened in March and October of 1946. These strikes were held by the Toho Employees Union, which was under the leadership of the Japanese Communist Party. While the first strike was successful yet fairly uneventful, the second strike caused a major disruption in film production. 1 month after the second strike happened, 10 members of the union, who were high-profile actors, formed a group known as the 10 Flag Association and left the union, citing disagreements with how the strike was being handled. Several directors then followed them, including our friend who directed this episode, Shuei Matsubayashi, and they formed a much more moderate second union, in contrast to the original, more militant one. This from what I gather...
Boo!
So... let me get into it. This is was actually a fairly common practice during this period, so much so that the term second union has its own page on Japanese Wikipedia. This term describes the phenomenon of a less radical labor union forming out of dissatisfaction with the original union's combative nature, with the second union often being much more amicable to the company's leadership and demands. Because of this, first union... Yep. So, because of this, first unions are often called quote-unquote red unions due to their association with the Communist Party, while second unions are often criticized by activists for severely diminishing the effectiveness of collective bargaining. It turns out when you divide your labor movement into 2, your ability to fight for better employment terms and conditions is severely hindered. Who could have thought?
They divided and conquered themselves. Idiots.
So this second union would go on to form a film company of their own called Shin Toho, which we've discussed before.
That's why it's called that. Okay.
Yes, which was technically a unique legal entity, but still had strong distribution and production ties to the original Toho, which resulted in a series of legal conflicts and headaches that are too complicated for me to get into, and to be honest, even after reading several articles and, like, some summations of it, I still kind of struggle to wrap my head around. But, these two...
It should be noted that this studio no longer exists, just so you know.
Yes, they went bankrupt, I believe, in the 60s. Yeah. But for all intents and purposes, for most of its life, Shin Toho was at the very least, a de facto sub-studio under the original Toho. Maybe not necessarily on paper, but in terms of actual production and distribution, they were essentially a part of Toho de facto. Of particular note to our podcast and what we've covered before, Shin Toho was responsible for the Super Giant series, which you may remember because I previously discussed it when covering Eizo Yamagiwa's mentor, Taro Ishii, who I believe I may have mistakenly referred to as Tetsuo Ishii, so my apologies if I did that. As a reminder, Supergiant was the series of films that seemed to strongly shape Japan's vision of what a superhero looked like, and was the thing that kind of was a predecessor to heroes such as Ultraman and Kamen Rider. Shin Toho was also notable for having a recruitment program for actors called the Shin Toho Starlet Program. While many of the people who were involved with this program, the records have been lost, one of the notable applicants was kickboxing legend Tadashi Sawamura, who played himself in the 27th episode of Return of Ultraman.
It's that guy. It's that guy.
Yeah. He got involved with acting through Shin Toho here.
Okay.
However, while Matsubayashi and the rest of his cowardly friends were having fun establishing their movie production company, the first union continued to struggle against Toho. Toho's management team was forced out of the company and replaced with a team of hardline anti-communist executives. Interesting note here. English Wikipedia claims that this was done through company investors forcing the change, while Japanese Wikipedia suggests that the involvement of Japanese Wikipedia basically insinuates that the Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces headquarters was forced this change to happen.
What you're telling me?
So I just was like,
you're telling me that in the bourgeois state, the bourgeois and the state act as one? What?
Yeah,
you're crazy.
Talks between the company and the union worsened, and many members of the union were fired or laid off by the company. And notably, I didn't include it here, but they targeted the more hardline leftist employees. They're like, get the fuck out of here. The strike escalated from here with various incidents taking place in the months that followed. Toho was occupied by union members and activists in April. Protests occurred throughout May. And in July, the union was subject to further infighting due to a controversy over its communist leadership. So it already split in a major way once before. The remnant of what remained of the first group once again split again, further making it harder for them to negotiate. Things took a turn for the worst in August, when a film laboratory that was being occupied by protesters caught on fire, the cause of which is still unclear to this day. Later that month, 2,000 policemen, assisted by a platoon of American soldiers, surrounded the studio, forcing the protesters to end their occupation. 2 months later, in October, the union members and Toho leadership came to an agreement. However, there was much resentment that remained between not only the creatives in the industry and Toho management, but the creatives and the major film studios as a whole. While Toho seemed to be the biggest, there was just a lot of labor disputes going on in the film industry at this time, and a lot of younger creative people were just getting fed up. Many filmmakers quit working with Toho entirely, including one, Akira Kurosawa. The Toho strikes, combined with the constant blacklisting of socialist and communist creatives in the Japanese film industry, brought forth a new age of independent film production studios, which were established at this time, and an endless supply of radical filmmakers who decided to look for ways to distribute their movies beyond the traditional movie release system. Kurosawa himself noted that Toho's actions during this period is what likely began the decline of Japan's filmmaking industry, which allowed television production studios to take over in the decades that followed. So before, we've talked a little bit about like how we're seeing a lot of film people go from film into working at Tsuburaya or just doing TV, and like I've kind of assumed that was just like an end of career thing of like, oh, okay, you do your big, serious, and hard work at the film studios, then you want something a little more chill. You get like a comfy TV job. What actually was the case is TV was taking over film.
Yeah, I think I also saw like
a
TV
lot of this labor stuff.
I also saw it as like a TV is the blue ocean thing and like new opportunities, but I didn't think it was also the film was declining at the same time.
Yeah, and what it seemed like is that a lot of the younger, more like radical, like progressive-minded people that wanted to make stuff were leaning more towards the TV industry at this time, and the people that were more, amicable to the companies and their stances kind of stood around in film. Seemed to be a divide there to some degree. Anyways, back to our friend Shuei Matsubayashi. He primarily alternated between making comedies and then also some serious war films, obviously drawing on experiences he himself had in World War II. He also worked on a couple different TV dramas, freelanced quite a bit during the 1980s, and then at some point in the 90s, he just decided to retire from directing, and he just became like a lecturer, and I think he just like kind of hovered around a few different universities, teaching students there. He died of heart failure in 2009, and it seems like many of his friends, family members, and peers came out to say nice things about him. And yeah, that's the story of Shu Matsubayashi and the Toho labor disputes.
It's always good.
How can we? Sorry, I lost track. How was he relevant to the Toho labor disputes again?
He was one of the directors that when the 10 actors left to create the 10 Flag Association, directors followed them and created the film company Shin Toho, and he was part of that original batch of directors that made Shin Toho. So he was one of the people that are like, I'm not down with this communist shit. We're gonna, we're gonna make our more moderate league second union that then goes on to make its own film company. So he was strongly involved with that part of it.
Okay. Alrighty.
So yeah, he's kind of a loser.
Yeah.
Social.
So he directed it. Do we know who wrote it?
Yes. The writer was our friend Masaru Igami.
In a way, jump scare.
Who also wrote episode 9.
Yeah. I apparently have a fun trivia about that. Apparently, this episode was kind of based on episode 10 of Masked Ninja Akakage, which he also wrote.
Just reuse the script?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's like a set in feudal Japan show, so I don't know how much you gotta adapt it. And I tried to go see the episode, but I was like, well, this doesn't have subs, so I can't get much out of it. So, but
But yeah, that's our last new guy for the show.
Alrighty. We talked about this show for like 2 minutes. About this episode for like 2 minutes. What was there anything else to say about it? Because like
I love the design a lot.
Yes, I love this. I love this guy.
I can give my tribute quickly with the
Oh, go ahead.
Iguchi once again on designs. I think he's probably just. I just double check. Yep. Iguchi did all the other design in the show. Toya is in the evil suit. A different guy, Tadaharu Saito, is in the good suit. I don't know if I have a bio of him, but I also couldn't find one, so we know what it is.
So, is there a difference between the two? I couldn't tell.
It's a minor difference.
I think there is, like in the face.
Yeah, like
okay.
You can. I think if you saw them side by side, you'd be able to tell which one's the evil one. But like, obviously, it doesn't matter too much. Like, I didn't make them. I obviously didn't make them separate ones in this order because that'd be stupid. And then the actors, the Fujio Murakami played the good one, and then Kaguya Morimoto played the bad one.
Alright.
And apparently, I discovered that just as like a meta thought about this entire range, not meta thought, but meta fact about this entire range of episodes. Shit, like, maybe in response to the budget cuts, that's more and more editorializing, but like, they started adding more double kaiju stuff with like the alien and the kaiju, just to, like, make the special effects part of the show more impressive. Presumably, they aren't doing the tornado thing like they could before. So,
yeah,
blew it all at the start with the big one.
Well, yes. This episode was a kind of functionally like basic thing, but we got a good guy alien. And we don't usually get that.
I love a good reluctant antagonist.
Yeah, I like how they didn't kill him. Like sometimes it feels like they just do that anyway as part of the tragedy of the episode. But sometimes just like it's nice to just like the monster can live. The quote unquote monster can live.
I love the concept of like big like warmongering alien guy being like, well, these Matt guys seem really fucking good at killing aliens. I'm just gonna take them.
He's right. He's fucking right.
Yeah. I would hazard a guess that they're incompetent in other ways, but I guess they are good at killing. I do think it's fine we get lore just like we've been fighting this other race for 30 years and it sucks and it's ruining our race and I just wanted to leave.
Yeah. I wanted to leave. He was the ace. He must have done so much sick shit in the war.
What's his body count? As compared to Ultraman, it's 2 billion.
Well, at least one. He has a daughter.
Now, hold on, Jiro. Not that kind of book.
All right. Well, unless we have anything else to say about episode 49, which I wish we did because I do like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I think the thing is, it's a very simple, like. Honestly, it's like a pretty simple but like well done episode.
Yeah, it's just like it's good.
Like it classic kids like show stuff with like I don't want to fight you, and, a good kidnapping or two, and people getting brainwashed to fight against their friends. Mm-hmm. And then you take out the bad guy who's ruining everyone's day, and everyone has a happy ending.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 50 is called Invitation from Hell, featuring primitive underground human King Bokkel.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's what it's called.
It's called King Bokkel.
It's called King Bokkel.
But she doesn't say King Bokkel. Does she?
Called King Bokkel.
I thought she said something else. I might have misheard. Okay. Someone realized we hadn't had an Ueno episode yet and decided to fix that in the second last episode of the show. Bad time. The underground science center gets destroyed in the night by a giant kaiju with weird antennae coming out of its shoulders. Reading the news the next day, Ueno is shocked to find out a Professor Koizumi died by suicide. Ueno is eager to investigate and knows something about the professor's daughter, Chidori. The rest of the team has a good laugh about how Ueno might have a thing for Chidori. And Ibuki arrives, asks Ueno to investigate the Koizumi case. Ueno picks up Chidori from, a school and remarks that she's grown so much, and "you're so mature for your age" alarm goes off. But Ueno beats several allegations today. We're fine. On a call with Ibuki, he refers to her as Chi-chan, and Ibuki turns to the rest of the team and is like, what's Chi-chan? And everyone loses it. Ibuki reprimands them, insisting that Koizumi was a mentor for Ueno, and that's why he cares so much. Back to Chidori, who talks shit about people who kill themselves with Ueno, insists her father could not be so weak, and also keeps nearly fucking dying due to weird incidents. In the middle of their investigation, while she tries to use a phone booth, the booth begins to sink into the earth. Ueno rescues her and shoots a guy who attacks them, but when they see the body, it's her dad. Koizumi attacked them, and Ueno killed him. Jun 3 is back to tell Matt this is an unprecedented scandal, and they might have to close Matt down. The team is like, well, Ueno says he was shot at, and Jun says, nuh-uh. No proof of that. Plenty of proof Ueno fucking shot dead one of the leading scientists in Japan. Go visits Ueno in his cell and reassures him everything will be fine. It won't. Go saves Chidori from a near miss with a car, and she's like, where am I? What's happening? While Go
the shot of the King Bokkel in the car is really funny.
Yes, while Go thinks he's spotted an alien in the back seat of the car as it drove away. He checks the evidence for Ueno's case and finds the bullet that killed Koizumi has a reverse spiral pattern to the ones fired from a real match shoot, meaning this was a setup. I don't know why it's a setup. Ueno did shoot at him. He did do that. What's the setup? With the whole team back on the case, Minami produces new photos from when Koizumi disappeared, showing a weird alien-looking thing, and Chidori says, "Oh, that's no alien. That's an underground human king buckle." Go, Ueno, and Chidori visit her father's apartment and find his research into underground human king buckles, and they see with sonar. That's the main thing that we're getting. The underground humans must want to destroy this research. They get attacked by a giant underground human king buckle, and Go turns into Ultraman, places the block of apartments in a safe place, and then fights King Buckle, and wins by exploiting the sonar thing. Somehow. Unclear.
I didn't really get what happened.
The team is sure that this time, Go must definitely be dead. And Ibuki shakes his head and smiles. No way. There he is. Go returns to Ueno and Chidori, and they laugh about their near-death experience. And I don't know if there's a little ending bit here or not, but I have just put the end.
The narrator,
I do also.
The narrator just says, "Oh, King Buckle may be back someday." Whoa, and then the episode ends.
Oh yeah.
I do need to highlight with great emphasis at some point during this fight when they're like doing the obligatory, the humans are shooting at the kaiju thing. They just shoot King Buckle right in the dick, and like he just like flies back and like sparks are flying everywhere, and it looks ridiculous. It is comical.
The scenes of Chidori almost dying are really funny.
Yeah.
She is just, she's like, weird things are happening. Oh, weird things like what? I feel like I'm in a Final Destination movie. It was wild. The phone booth thing is hilarious.
The phone booth one is so funny. Well, because it's like a perfectly like sized sinkhole to sink the phone booth, and then it fills with gas, if I remember correctly, too.
And anyone who has to break the glass.
And then her dad tries to shoot her.
Yes. So okay, right. In the last couple of weeks, I have had questions about the villain's plans in Return of Ultraman. I feel like they have not been well thought. Why fake Koizumi getting shot when Ueno does shoot at him?
I don't know.
Ueno shoots at him.
I don't actually know what the deal is here at all. I didn't think about it. I was just like, oh.
Ueno shoots at him, and that's the setup is that Koizumi is being puppeted and forced to shoot at his daughter and his, whatever his relationship is with Ueno.
Yeah.
And Ueno shoots back. If I was JFK, this is how I'd shoot a puppet. Anyway, but then it's like, well, it was actually with a different bullet with a fake match shoot. I was like, why? Just have Koizumi get hit by the bullet and this would be solid. This would be waterproof. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Very strange.
No.
Simply some not much attention to the details of bad guy plans in the last couple of weeks.
This one felt like they were like, oh, we haven't really done like underground species thing too much yet this series, I don't think. And then they didn't really want to come up with the details to make that work.
When you're doing, creature has been living on Earth as long as we have, maybe even longer, is now attacking humanity. You have both of the previous shows are giving you so much competition. Don't even try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we got the fucking Jisoji episode from Ultraman, was a fantastic episode. And then you've got the non-Mal episode from Ultra 7, which is one of
the best episodes.
Yeah.
I would even argue that the episode where we learn Dan's face doppelganger origin story thing with like kind of like, oh, maybe there's an underground like
the robots, yes,
alien species here.
It's like, were they invaders? Or
we didn't even really care for that one, and I still think that one's a little bit more tightly put together than this one.
This one's
kind of a mess.
Yeah, we don't get much of King Buckle. We just get it attacks and it uses like weird kind of controlling things with antennae.
I will say, as much as I think his name is fucking stupid, I do think King Buckle's kind of
I like the suit. I like the suit.
I like the design.
It's cool design.
I do like it.
I like the face. Like, it's just like a stark white. It feels like it's jutting out a little bit.
I think the face is a good sign of, like, this is an underground creature that can't really see very well. It's also well. Yeah.
For an Ueno episode, Ueno's strangely irrelevant.
You know what? I think that's about as accurate to Ueno as you can get.
Yeah. Oh, man. Do you remember when he was, like, initially one of the guys that distinguished himself from the rest of the cast?
Yeah.
Back in the...
See, we're bookending.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. He's, like, early and late.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What the fuck is going on out there?
Are you being driven away?
I mean, there is a... Here's the thing. There has always been a main road, like, outside of my place. It's just that up here, I feel like the window is less solid.
Soundproof.
Less soundproof. So we might be getting more of the traffic of unspecified British city from now on.
That's fine. It adds to the ambiance. I wouldn't. At some point, you'll probably hear the birds that I've discovered like to chill out outside my window too.
That's much more idyllic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else is happening in this episode? We got
Jun again. We don't know his actual name, but
we got the return of Jun once again. He hasn't been around in ages. Eventually, his identity. This is obviously the setup for why Matt isn't going to exist in the next. This is the controversy that's gonna end the monster attack team. Oh, they attacked a human. The human. I can see the headlines. The HAT, the human attack team.
The hat. I also enjoy his fury seems particularly targeted at, no, this guy was really important. You guys fucked up because you killed this particular guy.
You could have killed a random guy on the street. That would have been fine. Now, I could cover that up, no problem. I'm in the business of cover-ups.
Yeah, except for a random child off a bridge, but
Except a random... Yeah, you can injure a child. But...
Ibuki can kill a child in a basement, but...
Ibuki can kill a child in a
run over a
morgue.
child.
Ibuki filing the report to Jun, being like, so yeah, I shot the child in the throat. Watched it
was
bleed
an alien,
out.
but it's okay.
It was an alien. It's like, oh, did it reveal itself as an alien before you shot it? No. I trusted Go, though.
Like that guy in Mirror Man. Oh, it's he's an alien, so it's fine, actually.
Yeah. 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 Chidori, weird kind of just subject of villainy. Doesn't actually have much going on. The whole Koizumi Chidori Ueno angle is like weirdly not present.
I honestly, I feel like this would maybe be better if it was just like Ueno goes out to investigate and like the guy who he thought was his former, mentor tries to kill him. But like it feels like the daughter feels like a very lazy way to like put her in peril so that the heroes react.
This is no Soga episode.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of sloppy for second to last one.
Yeah. Well, who do we have to blame for this episode?
Once again, directed by Shuei Matsubayashi, doing the second episodes for the series. And then written by Masao Saito, who also did the Assassinate Hideki Go episode with the rat bite that we covered when you were gone, Red.
Oh, yeah.
Also, let me see. I know he did a couple others. I'm going through the booklet. Saito. Oh, maybe he didn't.
My distance from the rat bite episode is such that I can't remember whether I liked it or not. I think it was alright.
It was fun. It was goofy.
Oh yeah, I guess that was the only other episode he seems to have written. So.
Alrighty.
just my stuff.
Yeah, shoot.
Toya Iguchi, as usual. Yoichi Minoda, reminder, special director for all 3 of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the King Buckles are based off of Corpacure, which are like tiny gnome like nature spirits from Ainu mythology. So,
okay.
Brief research I did, very distantly removed from that, I think, probably, but you know.
Yeah, well, yes. Cool. Alright, do we have anything more about King Buckle?
No.
Let me tell you about the fucking finale of the Return of Ultraman, the event we've all been waiting for. Episode 51. What? Wait. I did a page break. I thought I hadn't written a summary.
That would have been amazing.
Oi.
Shulin plays as Fred tries to scramble to remember.
I'd have had to go to the... I wonder if the wiki actually has a summary. Let me go to the what is it? The 5 Ultra...
Oaths.
The 5 oaths of Ultra.
I had pledges. Oaths is actually in the subs in the episode, so that makes sense that it's oaths instead of pledges.
There's 5 Ultra Oaths and then the 5 Ultra Oaths as separate wiki pages, one for the oaths themselves and one for the episode.
That's fantastic. There is a full synopsis. We would have been fine. We would have been doing original Ultraman bits. There's a full synopsis for the wiki. But I do have my own summary, so here we go. Rumiko dreams of a ceremony on the beach. Is this a wedding? What ceremony is this?
I think it's a wedding.
I have no
My
idea.
impression is it's a wedding. Like a Japanese
my impression is
that
it's a
makes
wedding.
sense.
It seems wedding-like. Between her and Go. And all of Team Matt are in attendance, wearing black. The wedding is interrupted as all the Matt members reveal they were wearing their uniform underneath the proper getup, and they have to go to work. And then Alien Bat appears, and Rumiko wakes up. Jiro brings her up to speed. The 2 of us have been kidnapped by Alien Bat, and we're kept at Toa Stadium. This is... as an intro, I was like, hell yeah, we're wasting no time. We're in.
Like, don't you remember? We got kidnapped by Alien Bat, and now we're being held hostage to get go.
I think this is great. I think this is a great... Just skip that. We're just going. They try and fail to escape.
They got other things to focus on.
Go wakes up after dreaming of Ultraman fighting Zeton. First Ultraman. We have a name. We have First Ultraman. is how they call him in these subs. So that's what I'm calling him now. First Ultraman.
Yeah.
Go wakes up and is like, that's weird. Jiro and Rumiko are missing. Go. How do you know Rumiko is missing? She lives next door. You have something to tell us? Go. About you and Rumiko? Something happening? Okay. Go heads to the stadium alone and confronts Alien Bat, who says he's initiated the Ultraman Annihilation Project. Which I'm on board. I'm here. The Ultraman Annihilation Project. Let's get rid of him.
Unfortunately, we got apparently 30 more shows left.
He includes Ultra 7 in this, so maybe I have to oppose him. His people are on their way to attack Planet Ultra right now. He intends to destroy Ultraman, Zophy, Ultra 7, and you, Hideki Go. Bat deploys Alien Zeton and says, you gotta fight Zeton and die, just like Ultraman.
Clarification, that's not Alien Zeton, it's Zeton.
Oh, you're right. I
don't like that I have to do this, but in this case, you do have to specify.
I do have to. It's not Alien Zeton. It's Zeton. You are correct. Bat deploys Zeton and says, you gotta fight Zeton and die, just like Ultraman. And goes like, well, I guess I have to fight it. And First Ultraman steps in his brain and is like, all right, chill, mate, for a sec. Zeton doesn't fuck around. All right, you gotta take this seriously, because I didn't, and I fucking died.
I feel like he makes Go feel worse.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he actually harmed more than he helped.
This is like a different Ultraman, but also we'll get into it. Continue.
Yeah, first Ultraman rocks up and is like, "Now I don't know what the other guy in your head is telling you right now, but this guy don't play." All right. Go heads to Matt Base and enlists the aid of his team to fight Zeton. The first assault goes bad. Zeton still stands, Go crash lands his Matt Arrow, and Alien Bat, in the meantime, attacks Matt Base, disabling much of it and destroying its fuel and ammo stores. Matt regroups, and by candlelight, they search Matt Base and find they have nothing to fight Zeton with, except for what guns they had on them when they retreated, and Go's crash-landed arrow. They fix up the arrow and manage to give it 10 minutes of fuel, and Go asks to be allowed to fly it against Zeton. He gives a stoic farewell to each of his comrades and launches, and I think it's Kishida remarks, it's like he's heading off to die. Yeah, his bro.
Yeah. Kishida, who previously last episode was like, well, he's definitely dead now.
Yeah. That's so funny. It's like, well, it's so funny that he doesn't die so often that his bro is like exasperated at the idea he might still be alive. The team launches their attack on Zeton again, this time with Ibuki and Oka staging a rescue for Rumiko and Jiro. Ibuki, well, first of all, Ibuki and Oka then match shoot just out, like they run out or something, and they just pull like fucking a Beretta, like it's just like fucking like one of those little guns like James Bond has, and I'm like, that's just a pistol, that's just a gun. And then Ibuki,
don't worry, this one might be as strong as a nuke without radiation.
Yeah, Ibuki pulls a knife, throws it at Alien Bat, which seemingly kills Alien Bat, his body tumbling from a great height to the street below.
You don't know this, but the actor actually threw this, and then the Alien Bat parried it free.
Thank you.
God damn it.
Jiro and Rumiko are rescued, but Bat lives and turns giant. Go crashes the arrow again, and this time turns into Ultraman. I would have done that the first time you crashed. He kills Bat with his Red Man spear, and then he defeats Zeton by launching it into the air and Spacium beaming it. Easier than expected to beat Zeton. The team hold a funeral on the beach for Go in a twisted reflection of Rumiko's dream. The team says their goodbyes and leave. But Rumiko and Jiro remain, saying they believe Go will return. Sure enough, Go arrives in a suit and tells them he has to go. His planet needs him. He tells Jiro to remember the 5 Ultra Oaths. This is corrected to paths. Tells Jiro to remember the 5 Ultra Oaths, and Jiro refuses to recite them, distraught that Go is leaving, and is like confused about where he's going. Go turns into Ultraman and flies away. Jiro, now understanding that Go is Ultraman, runs along the beach yelling the Ultra Oaths. 1, I will not go to school on an empty stomach. 2, I will air my laundry when the weather is good. 3, I will watch out for cars when crossing the street. 4, I will not rely on others for strength and power. 5, I will play and run around barefoot in the dirt. One of these is not like the others. Goodbye, Ultraman. Goodbye, Go Hideki. The end.
I could have sworn there was something about a futon in there.
That might be the laundry one.
That's probably the laundry.
I did not actually pull up the episode again, so to write out things, I pulled them from the wiki article that has the 5 Ultra Oaths on them.
Okay, yeah. I'm seeing it. Air out your futon when the weather's nice. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So that's the finale of the Return of Ultraman.
We did it after 5 months or so.
Yeah. How did you feel? Now here's the thing. I am pleasantly surprised by this finale because I have seen the sentiment online that the Return of Ultraman has a stupid ending.
I haven't seen that sentiment, but I have seen that like people are down on the last stretch of the show, which made me a bit worried when going into it how you guys would feel, but it turned out okay, I think. But I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously this is a single episode finale, so it can't actually meaningfully reach the heights of Ultra 7. That'd be impossible. But I do think like for what it is, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it, and it's definitely like there's more to it than like the Ultraman finale, which I didn't even dislike, but it is the Ultraman 66 finale is I don't think quite on the level of this one either. Even though this one does rely on the Ultra, it relies on that one finale for this one to like work, which is interesting. But yeah,
I think doing Return of Ultraman and then making the finale, playing the finale off on the weird national trauma that all the children of Japan had at Ultraman dying in the original Ultraman. I think playing with that is like delicious and evil. Very good.
I do think so. I think just knowing the production history, my assumption, like I have to assume this episode was written well after knowing this Ultraman's a different guy, but I do feel like just like with the flashback and like the Ultraman stopping Go's transformation, it out of fear, it feels like it kind of makes more sense if it was the original Ultraman, even though it's not.
Yes.
It's just like, why is Go having a flashback to a different guy's memories,
This definitely feels like the ideas, like they had this ending in mind, like when they were planning the show, because like the moment they introduce he's not actually first Ultraman, it kind of undermines this ending entirely. Like, I think it still works because we're aware of like the distinction. But if you're just like focused in on this, I think it saps it a little bit.
I that's kind of how I felt about it, and my takeaway from it is I think the episode's kind of like whatever, give or take. Like, I didn't love it, didn't hate it. I'm just like, that's all right. But what I do give it credit for is that I do actually think it works as a actually very good encapsulation of Return of Ultraman, partially because of how I feel like it's so reflective of the weird production stuff. Like, again, Rumiko reads a lot here like it probably should have been Aki.
Yeah, and probably it was Aki. Like, the impression that with the one email we got a couple weeks back was that, like, I don't know if it's like, maybe it was a YouTube comment, but it was just like the idea that is the Cicadas leaving the show was not necessarily planned when these episodes were drafted, and then it may have been more abrupt, and changing the last stretch of the show to shift gears was maybe a bit.
Do you want to know how much it's clearly Jiro and Aki? The synopsis of the plot on the 5 Ultra Oaths the Ultra Wiki page says, Go reports his findings to his teammates at MAT, who decide to have one contingent fight Zeton, who is rampaging in the city, while another contingent rescues the Sakatas. No, they do not. That's not what happens.
That's funny. I think this episode they did a good job, because obviously they want Jiro and Rumiko involved in the equation, and it is a little bit unfortunate that like they're basically just there to be rescued, but also, let's be honest, that's a lot of the time that is towards
that's what they do.
The part of this show. That's what they're there for. I think we get plenty of stuff with Matt and the team. I really like the final handshake wave that they all give as Go's like, I might not see you all again.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. And, we get some struggle between, like, Go as a person and, like, kind of his role as Ultraman here. My main point of tension... Well, okay, I will say, I think Bat's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, but my main point of tension, and I kind of hinted at this, I think, in the first Ultraman finale episode, but... I on one hand, I like that we're wrestling with the Zeton stuff and, like, the legacy of, Ultraman dies at the end of Ultraman, and, like, second time around, like, that's a concern for our new protagonist. I just think Zeton's kind of lame. I'm gonna, like, I know I said I think the first time, like, I think Zeton's, like, middling design for me. I think I don't know, I just don't think Zeton's that cool.
I like Zeton.
And I think that's been a big problem for me.
I like Zeton a lot. I think it's a classic guy. But also, I will say that the suit for this one is a bit scuffed, which is noticeable, apparently, by a lot of fans. Like, this one is just not... Even if you like Zeton, this one looks disappointing to the first show Zeton, so, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bit...
I also know you don't like Zeton generally, so...
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried for future shows. I hope Zedon's not the final guy every time. I'm sure he's not.
Like Zedon is obviously iconic and recurs, but it's not like always the main guy.
Yeah,
they'll probably do fun stuff with it, so it's not just a vanilla Zedon either. So
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you can only pull the same card so many times, or you just gotta at least mix it up to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The here's the thing. You've mentioned that this Zeton is kind of scuffed. On the basis that because I was not necessarily super impressed by Zeton back in Ultraman. But on the basis of knowing that Ultraman dying sort of gave the children of Japan this psychological damage of watching the hero lose and die and get killed, knowing that that's what they're playing with here in the finale made me like Zeton a little more. I was like, oh yeah, it's Zeton. It's the guy that killed Ultraman. It's the guy that killed your hero. He's back. He's gonna kill your hero again.
It does feel like fitting for the finale of the Return of Ultraman, the show where Ultraman doesn't actually return, but
the show where Ultraman should have returned, but Ultraman did not return.
Yeah,
I am curious why did they make Alien bad instead of just doing Alien Zeton? I feel like that would have made sense to make like the callback a little bit more direct, but instead they're like, no.
I guess they just wanted like at least one new alien,
What was the difference? What was the difference? Which one is Zeton? Because I know Zeton is Zeton and Alien Zeton is Alien Zeton.
Alien Zeton was the Khmer with the head turned to the side.
Yes, but how did they get their names?
I'm not sure. I think it's like they're from planet Zeton. And so Alien Zeton is like the alien race, and then Zeton is just the name of the kaiju. Because the rule is alien blank is...
Maybe Zeton is the planet.
That'd be fucked up.
It's like it's Bionicle.
I think they should put more thought into this, but
it is what it is.
The weird thing about all this is apparently Zeton was similar to Bolton Jr. added to boost the rating.
So they did not have this plan.
I don't know. The trivia could be all different sorts of stuff, but it feels like intention was there, but when I look at the episode in isolation, but knowing the trivia, it doesn't seem like it, so I'm confused, but whatever. Also, apparently, this is the highest rated episode of the show with a rating of 29.5%.
Huh.
So I like the intro. I like the weird beach wedding thing. Obviously, it is like as you said, it is kind of indicative of Return of Ultraman as a whole, because it's like, why is Rumiko dreaming of getting married to Go? She has known him for like 2 minutes. Yeah.
She had a really long crush on her apartment complex neighbor.
She's like the guy in the boxing episode who saw Aki every day.
Yeah. Oh man, that really is an apartment complex. All right, that's a terrible joke. We're moving on. The fight is again the actual like the build up to the fight. I think is good. I think the whole thing where they're like, we don't have anything to fight back, I think is pretty cool. And then like them cobbling together this one arrow, all working on it, and then like gathering like 10 minutes of fuel, and I'm like,
yeah, that's pretty good.
It's 1 second of Trans Am. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. This that was cool, and then the actual fight itself was just like, well, Go is gonna fly in the Mat Arrow, and then he's gonna crash and turn into Ultraman, and I'm like, yeah. Could you have killed Bat with it first? Maybe, I don't know. You did this.
He needs to get stabbed with a big ass cross.
Yeah, the red man spear.
Let's be fair. This predates Redman.
Well, Redman inherits the spear.
Yeah, he inherits it, and will inherit it next week because I think Redman aired the same day as Ultraman Ace premiered.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of this episode, when Go returns, Return of Go, and Go is talking about returning to his home, like aliens are threatening his home, and I'm like, Go has joined with Go and Ultraman are one now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or Go died, and now he's hired him, his corpse.
There is I do enjoy how they write him in his final sequence as though there's an emotional distance to his fellow, human family.
It feels like Ultraman is taking over at this point.
Yeah.
Which makes it funny when he's like, say the 5 oaths, Jiro.
I like to read, given the events of episode 49, Space Warriors, where Go is at his apex of being Ultraman, where he's locked in.
Yeah, he did the Dan thing.
He did a Dan thing, and I'm like, him and Ultraman have aligned. Like they're now, and this final moment, they're like one. They're one and the same. They have unified. Ghost in the Shell. It's good.
Go is the shell. And
Go is the shell. Go is the. That's a title. Go is the shell. Yeah, and I think the Ultra Oaths are cute. I think it's fine.
I
think they're fun.
Yeah, they're not like weird like Mats or Ultraman related. They're just like, yeah, be a good kid, Jiro, and have fun with your life thing, which I think is nice as like a touching parting thing for him. I like
that it doesn't end on the only rule that is raising an eyebrow at the I will not rely on others for power. I'm like, excuse me.
Don't rely on Hide's tricks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beware
the weird part about
Hide. The 6th Ultra Oath. Beware Hide's tricks. Do not believe his lies.
I do think it's funny that the oaths are sandwiched between Jiro, as soon as you're done with school, go join Matt, and Jiro, do not cry right now. It's time to be a man.
God. Yes.
Jiro not gonna grow up normal.
No, it's right. Here's the thing. It fucking sucks to be Jiro. Everyone has fucking died. Everyone is gone.
He's kind of fucked up that Go just fucking leaves him after taking him in.
Yeah, like
I guess he has Rumiko, but still, like, traumatic.
Honestly, really mean to Rumiko.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want a kid? Not really. Well, tough. Good luck.
I'm gonna dump my best friend / ex-girlfriend who died's little brother on you while I go into space.
Yeah. Nonetheless, I think this is all right. Yeah. I was set up. I truly thought this was going to be some clown shit from what people had said online.
Yeah, I feel like I hadn't heard that much said about the finale. I just knew about the oaths as the main thing about it, but I didn't know what the oaths were. Okay. And I was actually kind of surprised it was like more,
normal.
More normal for Jiro rather than just being like a thing of like I was half expecting with the name the 5 Ultra Oaths is going to like be like, oh yeah, this is the oaths that we Ultraman take as like this Ultraman joins the Ultra Order with the other. Oh wow, ones.
Yeah, that would have fucking sucked.
I feel like they really dropped the ball not naming this episode the Ultraman Annihilation Project.
Oh, an episode called the Ultraman Annihilation Project. It's
to end the show. It would have been so sick. I do want to give them credit. I was a little bit worried that like OG Ultraman and Ultra 7 were gonna fucking
show up.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Show up.
And like they got mentioned here, but
kind of happy. I'm happy. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that we get first Ultraman kind of like weighing in a little bit psychically, but like I'm happy that they just let this be Ghost.
Shouts out Zoffy.
Better.
The fuck did he do?
Yeah.
My man thinks he's on the team.
It's like 3 degrees of who's like on a team. Like first is like Hayata thinks he's on the team with Dan and Go, but also Zafi thinks he's on the team.
Yes. Yes. It's fractal. There are multiple degrees of this. Yeah. Is there anything more to say about the finale of the Return of Ultraman?
I think it's all right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible. It's not like a standout episode of the show for me, but I do like it better than the original Ultraman's ending. If I had to rank them.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty all right ending. Like it could have hit higher. Would have been nice if it did.
Yes, Return of Ultraman has been undermined by circumstance throughout the show, kind of.
Which is a shame, because like a lot of it doesn't really like. It's just the unfortunate reality of making TV shows like this is a production nightmare sometimes, and it doesn't always align. But I think overall, I think they did a pretty damn good job with what they had, like the cards they got dealt.
It's just unfortunate that doing a good job, despite getting dealt a bad hand, doesn't actually mean that you make something really good. It just means I can appreciate the effort. It's it's a shame, but I like, controversial statement, I like Return of Ultraman.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good show.
I can't escape the feeling. I am a little bit bummed because I do think there was a pretty good streak in the middle there where I was like, depending on how this shakes out, Return of Ultraman, I might like it better than Ultra 7, but like as the series went on, I was just like, nah, I think Ultra 7 still kind of up there in terms of like the superhero stuff. Nothing's probably going to top Ultra Q for me for
I was going to say still the king, not for you, still the prince.
Yeah.
Ultra Q, the eternal king.
That's my takeaway from this. Like, I don't think it had the potential, but I don't think it cleared the heights of Ultra 7 for me. But I still think I'd rate it up there. I don't know if I'd like Ultra Q or this more, but I think both are obviously a fair step above the original Ultraman for me. So,
I do feel like I like this more than Blazer, I will say.
You know what?
Oh yeah, we've watched Blazer.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad. I keep forgetting we watched Blazer.
Where is it?
I should remember
Where's
that show
movie?
more than I do. But where is that
Super
movie?
Aya.
Fuck. We have news of Arc before we get the movie.
That's wild.
We got a few months until Arc airs, so presumably someone will sub it if it's not subbed already. But it's actually nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess who directed this episode?
Who directed this episode?
Ishiro Honda.
War criminal Ishiro Honda.
Go to jail.
And it was written by Shozo Uehara.
Of course it did.
Which, like, if you're gonna get someone for the final,
it's his baby. It's obviously that he.
Yeah, obviously same writer director duo that did the first 2 episodes. They're here too. So.
As far as I can tell, not really clear who designed the suits for this episode. Presumably the Zedon suit is just the old one.
Presumably.
And it's not like they changed the design much, but also Toya was in the Zedon suit. Saito was in the Bat suit. No one knows who designed the Bat suit for some reason, but but also at the very bottom of the Japanese wiki page on the Kaiju, I found out who sculpted the Kaiju in the show.
Oh wow.
So some of these I've given bio, some of them I haven't, so I'll get to that later.
Okay.
Ryosaku Takayama did exactly 3 guys. Twin-tailed Gudon and Stegon.
Okay.
And the rest were done by Eizo Kaimai, who in Ultra Q did Duran. And he has his own production studio now called Kaimon Productions. And there's also a guy who's also done work for Toho sculpting called Nobuyuki Yasumaru, who did some sculpting in the show as well. Don't get a clean rundown of who did what, but those are the credits you got. So now I know where to look for Ultraman Ace.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kaiju.
Are we done with our full thoughts of the show already?
I don't know. I think I'm good.
If we hit the kaiju,
I don't know.
We can hit the kaiju and then see if we can think of anything afterwards that we have missed out. Any final closing thoughts? I do generally think Return of Ultraman a good show. Like in the early stages, mostly just like competently made, and then there's that, you know, the autumn/November masterpieces, which I feel like there were fewer masterpieces in there than was advertised, but there are a couple in there that are bangers of all time.
Yeah. And strangely, like, I think all three of us are pretty up on the like final little batch of episodes in the show. I think
better than
I can see why people would be like, you know, kind of like turned off by like the shift and like the personal life drama stuff, but like I think they like, I don't know, there's some good episodes in the final bit here.
The people in the Ultraman group I've been with, they act like the last stretch of the show is bad. You know, if that's their opinion, that's, you know, everyone's different takes. But I was just like, I was expecting it to be worse than I got, and I was like, yeah, that's
You're
fine.
Expecting like a real dip, and it's just like, this is just Return of Ultraman. This is
honestly, I'd take this, like, there's a few episodes in that batch of like the, you know, like between like episode 5 to 15 where it's just like average episode, and then a dinosaur shows up and they beat it up, and like I can take or leave some of those, but there's a lot here in this final stretch that I couldn't live without. So
and there's a lot of good stuff in the middle. So
better than Ultraman.
Yeah, it's gonna be funnier the more time goes on, and we just keep beating more and more.
Do I prefer? I prefer Blazer to Ultraman.
I do too. Like I think it's still pretty easy. Like Blazer's still a pretty good show episode.
And yet, there are significant portions of Ultraman that are better than so much shit. But
it's still a classic for a reason.
Yeah, it's
and the reason is Soji.
Just Soji. The reason is him and the Bolton episode.
Tetsuo Kinjo did some good stuff, obviously.
Tetsuo Kinjo did some good stuff. Because he's a real one, except for that one time in Ultra Q. Don't ask about that.
You don't ask.
Perfect.
He should know better.
He should know better.
From his background. Like you don't get to make
non-malts.
Well, I mean you can, but like you made the non-malt episode, so you should know better than Fury this episode.
Yes. Absolutely. All right. Well, how are we doing? Because there are still a lot of. We were wondering if maybe there would be less kaiju than last time.
It turned out it's about the same. Like this, I think like maybe one less, but for whatever reason, when I did this sorter, maybe I missed an Ultra 7 one, but it ended up being about the same. But I don't has.
Because listener, I don't know if you remember, but Ultra 7 had 69. Nice.
Yeah.
If you had counted the two Mistlers as two separate entities, we would be at 69.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I could have counted the two King Strong forms as two guys, but I also wouldn't have done that.
You heard it. Mel's the reason this list isn't nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I ruined your lives, guys.
God.
Yeah. I did somewhat take umbrage at the fact that the baby was not separate, because the baby's way cooler.
It is. I thought about like maybe just getting the baby one, but I also thought, would you remember it? Would you remember what an adult King Strong would have looked like? But you would remember with the cage. That's why I put the cage in it.
I'm gonna be honest. There's about 25 on this list that I had to Google to be like, who was this fucker again?
I'm gonna tell you.
I think what happened is I just looked quickly at the Ultra 7 sorter. I think I just missed a guy, so the sorter we actually sent out was 68 guys, even though the gallery is like 69.
I'm gonna tell you, those 25 or so guys from this time that you were looking up, I wasn't fucking looking them up. I was just going with my gut. I was just like, this guy has bad vibes. This guy has good vibes.
Yeah, I was like, do I remember this guy? Nah, it's in the middle. There's a whole bunch. There's like a big section of the list that's just like dinosaurs I don't remember or care for.
Viewer, I want you to look me in the eyes right now and tell me you remember who Gronkin is.
I only remember him because he's the boxing.
That sounds like an obscene term.
It's the one with the buzzsaws.
Yeah, I just remember him because of the boxing episode. That's it. The context elevated a bit more than like the fucking.
On my anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Not with those buzzsaw hands.
No. I believe what we've been doing.
Gronkin on my Femigante Lezaza.
Oh no. Oh no.
How are we doing this?
I think we did bottom 3, top 15 in the past 2 seasons.
I would be comfortable doing top 10 just because we still got Nano episode to talk about too.
Yeah, no? Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Where does my 15... My top 15 isn't that interesting necessarily, but my top 10 is, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
only thing in the top 15 I think worth talking about is Varduk somehow got to 14, and I was like, I don't know how that happened, but I appreciate that happened.
I guess the only thing I can mention for my top 15 that's of note is Yamaterans got 12th and Sigurath got 11th. So I guess we get to top 10.
I will also just mention that Twin Tail is at 12. Which feels, early on we were like, oh, this guy's great, and he is great, but, we stepped the game up a little bit.
It's very, very funny for me, because I had the same exact feeling when I realized Twin Tail was 11 for me.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, the bottom of my list, 68, I don't know what Groats is.
He was like the alien from the... Grotesque from, like, the Who Kidnapped Ibuki's family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is so funny! You know how I feel about Daicon. Okay. 67, Dangar.
Wait.
Go ahead.
We're going in order, right? So.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so my 68, Dangar. Fuck that guy.
Which one's Dangar? Oh, I
one
remember
with the
that
weird,
guy.
like,
Yes,
dread?
I remember
Yeah, that's Dangar.
Yeah. 68, Kingosaurus the Third. It's just a fucking dinosaur.
It's just a dinosaur. There's a better dinosaur on this list.
He is a big step down from the previous two kings he's named after.
Yes.
Which is probably why he doesn't show up again much.
67, Dangar, already mentioned. Shit.
Yeah. 67, Zazan, which I had to remember real quick, was like the weird seaweed monster from the first episode who dies in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 67, Detton, which I don't fucking remember what that is.
I forgot what that was.
It's gross looking. I don't like it.
That was the guy that was supposed to be Telesdon, but the suit was too scuffed, so they just made a different guy.
Yeah.
This is
according to the
Go ahead.
According to the Ultraman wiki, Telesdon, related species.
Sure, yeah.
This is genuinely unpleasant to look at. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Red, you're 66.
My 66, Detton.
Which one, Detton?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. My Detton is 64 for me, but my 66 is Sugaron.
Yeah.
Sugar. I've got Sugar on low. Which one's Sugar?
Mine was also low.
Yes.
My 66 was Draculus, which I actually feel like there's a few I'd put.
Yeah.
I feel like Draculus I'd put a little bit higher because there's some, but I don't know. Sometimes
it looks at least
do that to you.
Kind of cool for a bat kaiju. Like, it's not great.
I was gonna say, and I forgot. Isn't it wild that we have a Draculus monster, and then Alien Bat is not paired up with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Listen. There's some logic happening in Return of Ultraman. It should... Right. I want to note... Where is it? I want to note how far up this list Black got, just on the basis of the one moment where it gets shot.
Yeah.
Where's
Black from?
It managed to get up to 42, which I was like, I don't think about this design ever. I don't have any thoughts about it whatsoever. The fact that it is like in the middle of the pack instead of near the bottom is a credit to just how funny it is when Ultraman shoots him.
Yeah, my Alien Black is 30 for me.
Nice.
59 for me, but if I had thought about that moment, I feel like he would have shot up these rankings.
Yeah, I feel like I got some guys in my top 20 who should be a bit higher. Like, I feel like I like the design of Terrachillis and King Buckle more than they're placed, but...
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of you are going to call my number one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I have Terrachillis in 17 and King Buckle in 18. I just shut them out.
Hang on. What do you mean I couldn't guess? If I can't guess, you're wrong. I feel... Anyway, my number 10, Sasahila. Which is the Pride at looking one.
Yeah, from the Avatarans episode.
Mm-hmm.
My number 10 is Zanika, who I think is the crab. From the crab cancer constellation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My number 10 is Bolton Jr.
Nice.
All-time guy.
Bolton,
Yeah.
Good lad.
who did not learn the ways of his people because
He's
they were
lost his
taken
culture.
from him. Yeah.
He recited the 5 Bolton oaths, and look where that got him.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
shot. My number 9, Ultra 7. I like Ultra 7 so much.
I didn't rank him high just because his appearances in the show are a bit like limp. But
you put Ultra 7 in the thing, and I have to compare Ultra 7 to like Oxter. I'm like, yeah, Oxter's alright, but it's Ultra 7. It's Ultra 7.
worth noting, I of course have both Ultramans on here on this order.
Yes, both of them, first and second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 9 is Nokogirin, who is the ray gun murder beetle guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember where he... How do you spell that? Oh, he was number 13 for me.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he's cool.
My number 9 is Paragon.
Which one's Paragon again?
The Mirage monster,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah, we forgot that Paragon was the Mirage monster last week.
Yeah.
Interesting design. I
Yeah,
like it
it's
quite a
cool.
bit. And also, I think the Mirage power is neat.
Yeah, Paragon was in the low 20s for me. High 20s, I mean.
My number 8, Bill Gummo. I love Robot.
I knew it. I knew it would rank high for you.
Yes.
Bill Gamo was my 12.
Where's Bill Gummo for me? Is it low? Bill Gummo is 21 for me.
Yeah.
My
Good robot.
number 8 is Guidon.
Ooh, Guidon.
Is that...
That's
That feels like a design that's going to show up a lot throughout these shows, if I had to
it
guess.
does feel like a classic guy in the Ultraman sense.
Yeah.
How do you spell Guidon again?
Gudon.
Gudon.
Okay.
As an aside, in my Japanese class, my professor was showing us like Pokemon with the Japanese names, and it's like the naming sensibilities make me go like, oh yeah, these are Ultraman fans.
Nice.
They seem like these are the names you give your fake Ultraman Kaiju.
I found out the final form of the pig, the fire pig, is based on Zhang Fei.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, Brad, you wait.
My number 8, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Here I am, rock you like a Varicane.
Hell yeah,
Where's
Varicane.
Hurricane
Good
for
one.
me?
Varicane, good.
Oh, whatever.
My number 7, Marucci
Yeah.
from the coolest fight in Ultraman so far.
Yeah. My number 7
Yeah.
is Twin Tail.
My number 7 was Sartan, who I'm trying to remember who
It's
that
the
even is off
invisible,
the
it's
top
a
of my head.
invisible alien with the elephant trunk.
Yes. I love the trunk. I'm a sucker for the trunk, so that was why I put it that high.
Speaking of being a sucker for the trunk, my number 6 is Mistela.
Yeah.
Which one? Mistler? Oh yeah, the alien. Mistler was 15 for me. Love that guy.
Number 15.
Number 6 was Yato Karen.
Did we get Brad 7? Brad 6? Oh, yeah, you're 6
Yeah.
first. I'm so
Yeah,
stupid.
number 6 is Yato Karen. Who is?
Which one is that?
It's the kaiju who Jiro rides inside the
yes.
space station.
Yes, Jiro rides the
Yeah.
Kaiju. Yes.
Yeah. That one was high for me, but like not. That was number 15 for me.
Number 15.
Number 15. Return of Ultraman.
Every time someone says 15, I'm going to say number 15.
Same. My number 6 was Beacon.
Yeah, I got Beacon at number 13.
There's a part during
number-
the Beacon fight where, if I recall, he just starts to kind of levitate and smacks his face directly into
Yeah.
Ultraman, and that
Yes.
visual has stuck with me for the entire run of this show somehow.
Yeah, Beacon's cool.
My number 5 is Sigarath. I love Simons and Sigarath. I love them so much.
Sigarath is 11 for me, and Simons is 16 for me.
They were
Simons is 11 for me.
They were low for me, but that's because but they were like probably the peak of the dinosaurs for me. I have Sigurath at 34 and Seamun's at 35.
Yeah.
And that's not anything against them. I just think the other ones on my list were a little bit above
they're still
them,
they're still like big dinosaurs in a sea of big dinosaurs. It's just like they're the best ones of them.
But they're cool. Yeah.
I like that one of them is bipedal and one of them isn't.
Yeah.
Good shit. Your number 5.
No, yours, Red.
I said my number 5, Seagrath.
Oh, I'm stupid. Fuck.
Your turn to be stupid.
Yeah. My number 5, Bolton Jr.
Nice.
Yeah. My number 5, Mistler.
Do you want to know where Bolton Jr. was on mine?
Where?
Number 15.
Let's go.
Number 15.
The last thing you'd want in your Return of Ultraman episode is another fucking Bolton. But sometimes that might be what you get. An Ultra Brother anonymously posted to the Matt Discord.
Brad, did you say your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 was Mistler.
Mistler. Yeah, Mistler rules.
Yeah, Mistler.
Yeah, good guy. I like the Ace design slightly more than the antagonist one.
I agree.
It's funny that I didn't know who you meant when you mentioned Yado Karen, because my number 4 is Yado Karen. I think this guy rules.
See, because it's like, I don't think of that thing's name when I think of it.
I think of, it's the little thing under the shell. Jiro rides the monster.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised that one wasn't higher for me. It was my 15.
And then Ultraman fucking murders it. Mal, you're 4. Have we lost Mal?
Oh no. Was it the One Piece posting?
It might be the One Piece, but you know what? It might be the fucking One Piece posting. It is what it is.
That's immediately what came to mind, where I was like, what reasons would Red have for muting them?
I mute liberally.
That's a good way to use that website.
Just because, it's like, if someone, because I imagine my tweets bother people. So I'm like, if people bother me, I mute them. And I assume lots of people mute me.
One time I did mute your retweets, and then I turned it back on after a bit.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
They're back on now, but
they're back on now.
I do that for sometimes when I need to go places, and I'm like, well, I do want to look at my phone in public.
Yeah.
Kind of appropriate to have a mishap, or the mishap season for the finale.
In the mishap season, you know what? It's our mishap season, but it's also the return of Ultraman's mishap season.
Yeah.
In the last part of the podcast, we have replaced Mel with Rumiko.
Excuse you.
Welcome to the podcast, Rumiko. What's your number 4 rated kaiju?
All right.
Mine was Yado Karen. You didn't catch that.
Yeah, we got some mishaps on my end.
Which I mentioned that it was funny that mine was Yado Karen because I didn't. When you mentioned Yado Karen, I did not remember what Yado Karen was. But it's my number 4.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
My number 4 is Vacuumon.
Hell yeah.
The Space Void.
Hell yeah. My number 4 is Zanika, I believe the crab from that same episode.
Yeah.
I love me a good weird alien crab.
Yeah. You get its weak points for massive damage.
Yes.
In this case, the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Vacuumon.
Yeah.
It's cool as shit.
Yeah. You know what else is cool as shit?
Yeah?
My number 3, Marucci.
Hell yeah. Marucci is cool.
Marucci was like shockingly low for me, but I fucking love that guy.
It's so cool. And like obviously the episode in context elevates it, but it's just like a really solid, cool salmon dragon thing.
Mine somehow was 20, and I have Takong above it? No, that's not okay.
Yeah.
The sorter has extracted a lie from you.
Yeah.
Funny.
Your number 3.
My number 3 is Stora.
Which one is this?
It's the extremely on-brand Brad alien that spends half the episode making fun of them for not being able to do anything.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
See, yes. I figured y'all would think that was my number 1, but it was
I knew it would be high for you, to be honest.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
I'm my number 2 is very funny because Grotes is 68. Grotes is 68.
Yeah.
Did not even know what it was. Kodaigon is number 2.
Hey, Red, do my number 2
Yeah.
is? It's Kodaigon.
Hell, Kodaigon's yeah.
Sick. My Kodaigon was 18. How the fuck did Grass-type Blastoise get above Kodaigon for me? Weird listing going on here in my teens, but you know.
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
Sick. My number 2 is Prisma.
What the fuck is your number 1? We'll get to it because my number. Well, let me tell you what my number 1 is. It's fucking Prisma.
Of course it is. Guess what my number 1 is? It's fucking Prisma.
Is it Prisma? Yes.
Yeah.
Brad, explain yourself. What's your number 1?
Vacuumon. I fucking love a big space
that's
cloud.
fair. You know what? You're allowed. It's the one.
Yeah.
It's the one okay answer.
Yeah.
I'm happy because I thought Vacuumon would be low for both of you. I'm very happy that we were all in agreement that giant space cloud is really fucking sick.
It's so cool. Like we don't get much shit like that in this show. He
goes into it, and it's all the fucking
dinosaurs.
The glut of dinosaurs. Yes.
Yeah.
It like leans cosmic horror in a way nothing else we've really seen has, and I fuck with it. It's cool.
Except Bolton, but we all love Bolton so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vacuumon cool as when it goes into the interiors, all the bright color stuff, and it's
I'm gonna be honest, when I was doing this, I kind of thought Prisma would also be my number 1, and then I thought about it and I was like, no, I think I like Vacuumon more.
So, that's fair.
Nice. These are good lists. Sick.
I have 2 things real quick.
Yes.
1, I forgot to do color timers. I need to do that.
Color time. This is in tradition.
Also, off note, fucking Alien Bat tells Zeton aim for his color timer. It's his weak point. I was like, what was this said?
Well, to be fair, like Zeton did crack Ultraman's color timer.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyway, episode 49, 1 minute 36 seconds. Episode 50, 44 minutes 35 seconds.
Damn.
Letting us down.
Episode 51, we got Ultraman twice. First 2 minutes 35 seconds for the fight. And then second 1 minute 27 seconds for when he leaves the show. And his family.
Good job for the
The colors. His timer is blinking when he's flying off.
No. But just like that's not how the color timer works.
It's just the time. It's just
Ultraman.
Yeah. Okay.
I do admittedly tweak it sometimes because sometimes it's like you don't see the shot of Ultraman flying away, but you get the shot of like the kaiju explodes, and then you go to the next scene. I'm like, well, Ultraman's still there if the kaiju's exploding, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I do tweak it a bit, but the spirit of the thing is there.
The spirit of the thing.
Maybe that's a cheating for some people, but I do it for me.
Wow.
I also have one more. Quick bonus thing I want to do.
Shoot.
I call it the Return of Kaiju Rankings, where I went back to our rankings for Alt-Q and aggregated them. Do you want to hear the bottom 3 and top 3 ever Kaiju for Alt-Q?
Sure.
Starting from the bottom, from like 28th to 30 for Alt-Q. Morpho Butterfly, 29th, M1, and 30, M1. Gorgos.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks. What was the top 3 then? Oh, your fucking total is gonna skew the whole shit.
You know what? I'll do top 5. Number 5, Balloonga.
Hell yeah.
Number 4, Baron Spider.
Hell yeah.
Tied for second, Goga and Pegula.
Yeah.
Damn.
Can you guess who number 1 is?
Kanagon?
Who is number 1?
It's a guy, Garamon.
Oh, hell yeah. Good.
I see.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. With this kind of, this kind of reflection on the Return of Ultraman here, I looking at this top 10 list, this, there's some good shit here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I in terms of just a kaiju show, I think this is a strong show.
Yeah.
Which is not how it started.
Yeah.
We got there.
We got that. It took work, but
sometimes you just need to get rid of the dinosaur guy.
Yes.
I'm
so mean to Toru Narita. He was a very influential figure. It's just that he quit in the funniest way possible.
Yeah.
Do we have anything more to say about the Return of Ultraman before we talk about Hideaki Anno being the most he's ever been?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So we also watched, as a bonus, we watched Hideaki Anno's fan film. Well, Daicon's fan film.
Daicon Films presents.
Daicon Film. Well, Daicon Phil presents, please. The M was too far to the right. It didn't make it onto the screen.
Hey guys, it's Daicon Phil here.
Is Daicon Phil? They call me Daicon Phil.
They call me Daicon Phil. You like Return of Ultraman, kids?
Yeah, we like Return of Ultraman. Why?
Hey, you don't need the mask to be Ultraman. It's fine.
Do you not? See, it seems like you need to be an alien.
I think Anno counts enough.
This was the when I realized what was happening. So this right. The main feature of this episode, before we talk about anything else, the main feature of this episode is that when the guy transforms into Ultraman, he transforms from someone playing a character into Hideaki Anno wearing a jacket that is Ultraman patterned.
Yeah, he uses Anno's glasses to transform into Anno.
Transform into Hideaki Anno. It took me about 30 seconds of looking at this to think, no, is that young Anno? And I had to Google and just be like, yes, it is. Oh no. My man. Ridiculous. Yeah. He's a parody of himself. So yeah, this is a fan film, with Daicon Films. I don't know much of the content. I don't even know when this was made. Mel,
yeah, so it was made in 1983 for the Daicon 4 convention.
Okay.
And this was Anno's directorial debut, though apparently he made a couple Ultraman fan films before this in university.
Wait, did you say Daicon 4? This is the same expo as the legendary animation.
Yes.
I see. Fantastic. Thank you, Anno.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this, we get a bunch of children act playing the role of MAT members dressed as Ultra Guard members.
Yeah, don't worry about it too much.
Don't worry about it.
Worth noting, Anno agrees with Red on what the superior OP is.
Yes, he does. Thank you, Anno. You're right. You're damn right about this one. There's a bunch of it's a standard kaiju kind of thing. There's an attack. Well, actually, no, it's not, because it opens on a town getting hit by a meteor and a little girl dying, presumably.
Well, no, it's like 1,000 people died, 10,000 people or something died, like a ridiculous number.
Yeah, it's a lot of people die, and the meteor is like it's too dense. It must be an alien, and it's the guy who's secretly Ultraman is like, oh, I hope this isn't our Zeton, and it turns out to be their Zeton, but it's not Zeton, it's something else that I don't remember the name of, because I didn't write any summary. I'm not gonna do like a full summary.
That's fair.
But
it's Akira, that's the name, but
Kiryu, right? And Matt launches in the gyros. They make such a distinction between the gyros and the arrow.
Yeah, I felt weird.
Which is like real like nerd shit. It's real like, what's the distinction between the gyros and I think the arrow is more, the arrow they go full Macross for when they do the launch. What year is Macross? It's 82. Yeah, 82. I was gonna say it's clearly on the mind here.
Oh, well, I mean, like, this as a whole, like, my whole takeaway was like, oh, this is like Ultraman by way of military otaku tech shit.
Absolutely.
It's all over the place.
This felt like the Rosetta Stone to me.
Yes. It's all right here, right from the beginning. He's always been him.
Like, the blowing up a town feels like such an Anno way to do an Ultraman thing. Mm-hmm. And then the moment that, like, the guy in the arrow is revealed to be, like, the kid of Ibuki.
He put his kid in the thing. Yeah.
No, though I did like the touch that, like, the Ultraman is not the kid, but,
yes.
Not the son.
This is true. Yeah, and then when they launch the arrow, and the arrow crashes, classic, and everyone assumes that the kid is dead, and the state has authorized a thermonuclear response to the kaiju, and the guy who's Ultraman is like, no, we don't want to nuke. There could be could be estimated to be thousands of survivors. Those might include your son. And everyone's like, do you not want revenge against the kaiju? And they beat him up and throw him in jail.
Yeah, they're like, if you don't want to avenge your countrymen, you're not even human.
Yeah,
you're not even human. And he's like, wow, you got me there. And the captain is like, I will personally fly the mission to nuke my son. And so yeah, he flies the mission, but the guy who's Ultraman is like, I'm gonna turn into Ultraman. It puts on Hideaki Anno's glasses, transforms into Hideaki Anno, bursts out of the Matt building, and then heads off. We've got this amazing shot of Hideaki Anno looking in through the cockpit, as like a giant, and stopping the nuclear launch, and then fighting the kaiju. And doing stuff, being a fucking nerd, a fucking weird nerd who just wants to do Ultraman poses, and is like, I'm gonna be Ultraman. Okay, well, here's your mask. No. I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
I'm going to be Ultraman.
I'm going to be Ultraman. I'm Ultraman. Fucking. All right, mate.
The lack of a mask was so distracting for me. I'm just like,
I couldn't think, the moment it happened, I couldn't think about anything else about it. I was like, this is the only thought I have about this now, is Hideaki Anno is just Ultraman. That's what Ultraman. Stupid.
What a goofy man.
Fucking going to Halloween dressed up as Dave Vader over here, like.
Hideaki Anno is Ultraman Jim. Yeah, I mostly had a fun time with this because it was, first of all, it was like, it was cheap, it's budget, but also it's got it's got like an amateurish attempt at the flair that we see from like a Jisoji episode, because we've talked about how Anno views Jisoji as like, oh, this is the fucking guy, and of course he does. I've seen an Anno anime, and seeing it here in like its budding form is interesting. Unvarnished, just pure ultra fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. To be clear, it's also, I feel like this is probably hard to make too. Like, there's a little making of feature that I watched, and it seemed like, they put a lot of effort in this. So I'll probably link in the description, but it's also still like clearly a fan film.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do think the kaiju looks shockingly pretty good for a fan thing.
Yeah.
There are some notable shots where I'm like, this screen is completely black, mate. Right. But yeah, if it's I had a good time. It was fun. It had energy. There's this. They have a lot of like Star Wars / Macross screens on everything.
I wanted to make note of that because I was like, this is the line between like mecha anime or like sci-fi battle space fighting shit and Thunderbirds for me, is the presence of targeting screens or lack thereof.
There's Can I tell you how I felt about Gunbuster 3 episodes in, like 3 episodes in?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I was starting to suspect we were never going to get to see what the aliens look like, and I was like, hell yeah. It's like, we're only ever going to see them on a targeting computer, and I'm like, that's what it's all about. And then we see them and it's cool, and I'm like, okay, I'll retire that notion for another time.
Yeah.
But yes, that's all very. There's a moment where they got the see-through screens, right, where you draw things on them in like a military plan way, whatever. And they'll pan over to it from the other side so we can watch someone cross off the town on the map. I was like, all right, this is like, is that it? Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. It was funny.
It was a little goofy.
A little goofy.
Yeah.
He's a goofy man. Glimpse into his brain.
Yeah, it is funny just seeing.
There's nothing there. There's just Ultraman in there.
He was always like this.
He was always like this.
So you said this was 83, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking. Okay, he was 23 when he made this. That tracks to me.
Yeah. Man.
I like the touch where like.
Go ahead.
I like the touch where the Ultra bracelet like gets flung off and lands in someone's house.
See, what I think I want now is I need to make the Power Rangers version of this where he's reviewing a PS2 platformer for the internet, and then he fights a kaiju at the end as part of his wacky review skit. Because it does kind of have that vibe.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It's funny that like the day is saved and they just go, let's go have lunch or something, and then the Ultraman just like stares wistfully at the ruins and they just go leave. And it's like, well, are you gonna rescue the people here? I guess not. That's fine.
I want a new Ultraman thing where Ultraman is a guy. Just once. You can make some sort of excuse, but it's Ultraman plus giant woman all in one.
Oh.
Jun was this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Briefly. It's also funny in the Macross way of just making a person fucking giant.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Also, Ultraman was on screen for 6 minutes 9 seconds.
I know. I would have thought that of all people who would stick to the fucking timer.
He was too self-indulgent at being Ultraman.
He just wanted to be Ultraman too much.
Yeah.
That it overcame his nerd spirit.
Yeah.
Damn. This is the inner turmoil that a person feels. This is truly the contradictions of the soul. All right. Well, that was Return of Ultraman, the fan film by Daicon Film.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to name this episode Daicon Film. Daicon Film, new recurring guy. Yeah, we got plenty.
You could do the first episode idea title and then featuring Daicon Phil.
Go as a shell featuring Daicon Phil.
Featuring giant nerd Daicon Phil. Yep. All right. Well, that was Return of Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he returned, I guess. Yeah. He returns at the end of this.
Yeah, me and Mel did joke about this before we started returning. He's like, he did return. He did do that.
Yeah.
In the end.
They found a way. I gotta Hideaki go back to my home planet.
Hey.
Jiro's like, you mean you're here? And then Go smiles and goes, fuck no, I'm not. Then leaves.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that has been an episode.
We got emails.
Yeah.
I forgot about emails.
We haven't had emails. So, first off,
all right, give me your best strong bad voice. Don't do that.
Dear Ultra Crew.
Everyone's doing silly voices this week. I don't know.
I know.
Something in
it's
the
that
Oh,
water.
post-Easter impersonation.
How does Gronkin type with boxing gloves? Anyway.
The audience still hasn't heard my Marge Simpson.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should. I really don't think they should.
I got a mean Fred burger too.
Anyway, Cross Data's email. Hideki Go, what a guy. Gonna miss Jiro Dan. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Well,
his performance was very fun to watch this whole run.
Well, not necessarily my favorite show from this era. I think it takes a bit to get going compared to 7. It sure is a memorable one. It's really good to fill out one of my 2 blind spots from this era. It's also really funny. I caught the final episode on Easter with so many crosses throughout the final episode and Alien Bat being killed by Ultra Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's fun.
They also sent the top 10 kaiju from Return of Ultraman. 10th to 1st is Knuckle, Maruchi, Paragon, Twintail, Bemistar, New Ultraman, Snowgon, Black King, Ultra 7, and then finally in 1st, Prisma.
Good.
That makes sense.
Good. Correct.
Ultra 7 being the MVP by giving our new Ultraman the bracelet, and that win allows them to be here. Also, question: what are your 5 Ultra Oaths?
Shit.
Okay. What are my 5 Ultra Oaths? I have fucking resolutions from 2 years ago written down on a whiteboard. Let me go grab them.
Oh God. I mean, if we're doing that, finish the Shin Megami Tensei 2 Let's Play. Learn new recipes. Be better about jogging more consistently. Maybe learn some time management skills at work to make your life easier. And force yourself to say yes when invited out for social occasions.
I am back. Have you been giving your 5 Ultra Oaths?
Yeah.
You'll get to hear mine in editing.
I will.
I stole your idea and I just took some old ass resolutions I put in a notepad doc forever ago.
Okay, this is essentially going to be a resolution review from the year 2023. Number 1, quit Diet Coke. Number 2, write one thing with a beginning, middle, and an end. 3, Get comfortable enough with horror to play the Outer Wilds DLC. 4. Learn to cook 3 new go-to meals. Did do that. 5. Fail responsibly. I think I did that.
Yeah. One, actually work on creative endeavors. 2, diversified tastes. 3, I don't get employed, I guess.
You did, yeah.
4, profit.
Profit.
5. I don't got 5 in me.
That's okay. Those are our 5. Those are our Ultra Oaths.
Yeah. We're killing it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, CrossZeta, for your email.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, the return.
Cydrixer.
Cydrixer's emails. Just in time for the series finale, I'm back. Now that ROU is over, I'm glad to hear yours praise for the show. It's one of those ones that a lot of people really like, so I'm glad that rang true for the 3 of us. Even if I doubt it's any of our favorite shows so far, that's true. For Return has a consistent quality for some reason or other, which keeps it entertaining throughout. Don't know much to say to myself, that's just a good time. Time for the usual elevator pitch for a modern day Return tribute episode, go. Not a certain person, but...
Oh, a modern day return of... So, the
tribute
return...
episode to this show.
A tribute episode to this show. Okay. I would... Oh, let me have a look at this list of kaiju again. This is essential.
I would... This is bold. I would do a Taro Chillis 2-parter throwback.
I see.
Get a weird kidnapping in there.
You know what I do?
What?
I'd have them do a racing episode with a meteor that they actually finish building.
Oh, yes. Oh, the meteor. Yeah, they retired the meteor thing because that man
Ken died.
Because that man died. That man fucking died. Yeah.
It would have been nice if they did something with it, but yeah.
Man, yeah. Racing the meteor would be good. I don't... I mean, you could do the Bolton Jr. follow-up.
Yeah.
Bolton the Third.
Bolton the Third. I mean, it's not confirmed whether Bolton Jr. dies at the very end.
He kind of just fucks off, to be honest. That's my view of it.
It's like Ultraman gets off a passing shot, but it's not. No one says, and Bolton Jr.'s dealt with. So yeah, I want to watch an episode that is the trial of Ultraman. I want to see one of the Ultramen get put on trial. What if Ultraman Jerome got put on trial for the Marucci incident?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I just want to leave the Marucci episode alone, though.
This is true.
But that's just me.
This is true.
But
I'm still in two... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, what better way to do a throwback episode in the modern TV style than completely fucking up a profound and memorable episode of an old thing everyone loved?
We shouldn't encourage that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Red?
I'm still in two minds about the inspiration behind the Marucci episode, because on the one hand, it is a very good episode, and it, I do think it's like, it's a big deal. I like it a lot, but part of me is also like, you can't necessarily do this about the subject matter that you have chosen.
I feel like the fact is, like, Shozo Ohara makes it better for me because he's not Japanese. So
yes, this is the saving grace is yeah, that's true. But I like that episode a lot. and yet I continue to have some mild mixed feelings about. That's a wild pull to make.
Yeah,
an
I mean,
episode
it's kind of like
Do you think that maybe this show is not the format to make that swing? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing where like it's like this big kind of sad moment where Ultraman does save everyone because he's the hero, and like, you know, he's the hero of Japan will save the Japanese people even when they don't deserve to be saved. But it's like, you have pulled from, like ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
It's a bit much. But I still like the episode. But I just wanted to get
I
that
think
one
that's
note
going to. That's definitely going to be the one I'm thinking about heading out of this show.
Yeah.
When I think back on this series, that one left a fucking impression.
Yeah. It's this season's Jamila.
Yeah. This season's non-malt.
This season's non-malt. Every season gets one.
Yeah.
Except Ultra Q. Ultra Q has a reverse.
Yeah. The reverse non-melt.
This season's octopus.
All right.
They got more?
Oh, they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say too much about to come, but Ace is a show that takes a different direction from what comes before. He's asexual. Coming up, we got lore. We got influences from contemporary shows. Is a bit like opinions on the show vary a lot, so we're in for.
Ooh, that's good.
It's gonna be spicy, probably.
Outside of the central gimmick, which I will not say because I don't think Red knows it yet, I know absolutely nothing about Ace.
Yeah, look forward to
the thing about consensus is the only interesting thing about it is if we go against it.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily fun if we attract the attention of people.
Yeah.
But yes, I like a disputed show. We will dive into that. And absolutely.
He also mentions that he already sent me the music for Ace to use at the end of this episode. I'll talk to you more about that after we finish recording. Though I'll have to probably have to deal with the fact my PC's in a weird spot right
now. Yes, there was an incident.
And then of course, out of nowhere, the week of a family, we apparently have Return of Ultraman Season 2. I mean Arc.
I see.
They're saying they gave some thoughts about some future seasons that reminds them of, which I will keep to myself. But visually, there's a lot of return codedness in it, especially with like the title card, and the font. Apparently, Sejixer says that the chest design looks like the Ultra Bracelet. The fighting stance stuff. That the plot synopsis reminds them more of a future season we won't get to for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Ultraman Arc because he's going to arc around the hallway in his apartment to find his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
The most notable thing to me is how this year's showrunner is Takanori Tsuchibodo, who we know as the episode director for 4, 5, 6, 16, and it's just one, but I assume 17 of Blazer. This is the Emmy Spy episode, the Mountain Monster episode, the Kanan episode, the Illusion Mole episode, and the Space Samurai Thank You Zangil-sama episode.
We like all those episodes.
Yeah.
Gomenasai! My name is Zangil-sama.
So if the guy's the showrunner, we're probably in good hands for what Arc has to give us.
Yeah. Excellent. That makes me excited.
Yeah. But yeah, for now, on the Ace and all the wonders that show will bring. Thank you very much once again, Sejixer, and we'll see you presumably next week.
Hell yeah. All right. Is that it for emails?
Yeah.
Cool. Well then, that's a fucking episode of a podcast.
Yeah.
Got 4 down.
You know what? This is a fine length. I was worried about the length in the first half. This is fine. This is absolutely fine.
This is longer than the Ultraman finale, shorter than the Ultra 7 finale.
Yeah.
Somehow not the longest episode in this season.
The Ultra 7 finale is, I think, the most we've had to, because it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter finale. We were going to have a lot to say about it.
And we also had a lot to say about the show, more than I think we had to say about Return of Ultraman, which is fine.
Return of Ultraman has been the thing is, we've been hitting Return of Ultraman stuff so often because it's much more consistent in terms of it, and less like Ultra 7 was so many different things.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. Anyway, that is the episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at @ultra_q. That is at @ultra_QUEUE. I am also on Twitter. I'm at gender_redacted. Mel.
Hi, you can follow me at Twitter or Blue Sky at Dear Crowns. We have the email ultraqpod@gmail.com. We have the coffee ultraq fund. Brad.
You can find me at Daicon Film. No, you can find me at B_invoked. That's BE_INVOKED. Also, my YouTube channel, which I hopefully will bring out of its frozen stasis soon, at Canopus Invoke. That's CANOPUS space INVOKE. And having a good time. Hopefully, more Tales of the Abyss.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next week,
Ultraman Ace. The first 3 episodes. 3 episodes.
We still don't know when we're doing more Bear Man. We should probably figure that out at some point.
Yeah.
We said we would not do it next week. Because we want to do the Ultraman Ace first episode, which is going to be longer than most episodes because it's the beginning of a show. We were saying maybe the week after, or do we want to put it?
Can we do the week after? And also exam season.
21st or when's exam season? Sorry.
This month.
Oh, this month. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe 2 weeks is fine. Maybe like the 3rd week of Ace.
So the 28th.
21st or 28th. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it works for me. 28th.
All right, the 28th of April. That works for me as well. I haven't watched a single episode yet.
Me neither.
Same. We're great at this.
Well, we had Easter.
I didn't have Easter, but I had to move.
I didn't. Hey, guess what? I was gone for last episode. I didn't have fucking Easter either. I didn't tell the audience about the fact
you were gone for no reason.
I missed last episode for no good reason. I was driving back home, which is a few hours, and I get a call about 2/3 of the way through the expedition saying, "Hey, just so you know, I have COVID, but don't worry, it's okay. You can still enjoy Easter with us. I'll just be in the other room." And I was like, I don't think so, Mom. And then I went back home and then, ranted about it in here. And I was gone for no good reason. It was very annoying. I could have just been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
wasted my time and gas.
Well, that's how it be sometimes. Unfortunately. Yeah. God. Well, join us next week. 3 episodes of Ultraman Ace. Looking forward to starting the show. I'm going to be acquiring that right now. Ordering a Blu-ray on Amazon.
Yeah, and I will at some point give you the singular episode I have curated subs for.
There's one episode where we need a specific set of subs.
Yeah. There's more for Taro.
For some reason.
There's more for Taro for whatever reason. I lost.
Are we allowed to know why?
No, but it'd be funnier if you guessed it's for the bit. So
okay, I'll guess now. I'm guessing that there are incredibly incorrect names, like anglicizations of names in the episode for like the monster.
That's kind of what I assumed.
They're incorrect names, all right. But,
Alrighty. Well then. See you next week.
Yeah.
Goodbye. That's it. That's the episode. Get out of here. Scram.
Yeah. I'm going off to my home planet now.
Yeah. What, here?
I'll air out the futon. I'm going to run around in the dirt.
I am not going to run around in the dirt. I'm going to wear my shoes.
I'm strong. I don't need anyone else.
That's right, Jiro. You're strong and you don't need anyone.
Don't need a woman, that's for sure.
That's it. That's the end of the episode.
Bye.
壊すぞ地響き立てて吠える怪獣大怪獣ふわっと開いた口から炎辺り一面焼け野原間違ってない死が迫る帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んでキック一発近くに寄ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン戦い進んで見上げる空に一つ輝く僕の星遠く離れて地球に一人あれがふるさとだ正義と平和を守るため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルト